quick few things before the video starts. Obviously, as you can see, it is a little long, but you can still listen to it on Spotify, so you can listen to it on the go. That will be in the description. The podcast name is just Liam, so it'll be hard to find by search. Don't worry. I think it's on some other stuff, but I don't have them, stuff like Apple Music podcasts and stuff. So you can get there too. It'll all be in the link. But I know for sure it's on Spotify, and Spotify podcasts are completely free. There's no catch, there's no adverts, there's no afterpay or anything. You can download them for free as well. I do it all the time. If you didn't know, so that's very helpful. So I'd watched all the episodes prior to this video. Keane had rewatched Empty Child as a rewatch for me as well. Rewatched Empty Child and The Doctor Dances just because he likes it. The only episode he can't really remember is The Unquiet Dead, and he was a tiny bit unsure on Boomtown. Well, he remembered it, but he said he'd like to rewatch it. But other than that, we're pretty clear on each episode, I'd like to think. I'm going to mark out sections, or they call it chapters, don't they, on YouTube. I'll do it on Spotify podcast too, of each episode, and the intro, the outro, all that. So you can skip to what you like. I recommend just watching the whole video. It's really entertaining, and a great conversation about the whole season. And it's not just those episodes too, so if you do skip between episodes, you might miss just conversation about other doctors and other episodes as well. So I'd watch the whole thing, but if you're in a rush and you listen to the whole thing later, you want to listen to a specific episode, find it through the chapters. And what I'd really recommend is Dalek. We go into great conversation, and there's some really interesting stuff I did not know about before. It was about the episode, how it's kind of meta, and some of the backstory to it. Same with Rose and all that. So there is some really interesting stuff that Keane brings up. He wanted to do a season 1 intro. Unfortunately, we forgot about it till the end. I'd do it now, but I do not have the time. Well, I'd let him do it now, but we don't have the time. I can't do it. I don't know half as much. I do a tiny one. In the beginning, and that's it, and then we move on to Rose immediately. So really, we don't expand as much as the runtime would mislead you to think. We try and cover them as equally as we can, but talk about more episodes than others. But in later seasons, where the episodes just go great one after great one after great one, the videos probably get longer, so stay tuned for those. There's going to be some great conversations and stuff, so I recommend subscribing to the channel. There is other content on this channel, loads of stuff. You can check those out too, because they're really great. And they also go on the podcast thing, except for one, which is an actual podcast, and that goes into its own podcast thing. You get what I mean? But, the Doctor Who videos won't end there. Also, if you've come from Doctor Who Lesbian, do not worry about it. The usual content won't end. In fact, there'll probably be more. The break we had is down to me, really. I had a break from social media, so it all kind of stopped there. So now we're back. We're going to do all the things you expect from us and a little more, which is absolutely great. So I think that's where we're going to end off at. There's a little intro to each episode, playing the next episode thing that Doctor Who usually has at the end. Hopefully they don't get any copyright strikes. If they get copyright claims, it doesn't really matter. If it gets a copyright strike, I'm afraid we have to remove those. But fingers crossed.
Run!
What is it?
An old friend of mine.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to, I forgot to close that. Welcome to Doctor Who Season 1 review. I'm here with Keane.
Hello.
And, sorry, I cut you off there.
No, I just said it.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
But this is the worst intro ever.
That's why I don't do intros at all. I'm terrible at yeah. So Doctor Who Season 1. Is it technically Season 27 in the grand scheme of things, I think?
No.
No?
No. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, but...
there you go. I'm right.
But, one day I'm hoping that they continue the classic series, but that's probably not going to happen. I still have hope.
Yeah, I don't think so. So this brought back Doctor Who and all that, and we might as well just get straight into it. Into Rose.
Yes, Rose.
I'm the Doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose. Nice to meet you, Rose.
Run for your life!
What did you think?
I enjoyed it a lot more than I did on my first watch.
Did you not enjoy it?
I thought it was alright. It was decent. I really, really liked it on the rewatch.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, I really liked it first time anyway. I still really like it. I think with you understand what its whole point of the episode is. Do you know what I mean? Reintroducing a new audience to the show. Do you know what I mean? In a new age. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it nailed it perfectly. To be honest, it's not a perfect episode, but it completely achieves its goal. Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, I think it's kind of close to perfect. One thing that really shocked me was how well it was shot. It was really bizarrely better.
The first shot where zooms into London, it's Earth, and it goes right into Rose's bedroom. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't know, there's strange uses of angles. They're using tilted angles and stuff, and when they're running through London, it's gorgeous.
Exactly.
And it's not consistent throughout season 1, but you do see it a couple more times where there's a really nicely shot episode, which you don't get anymore.
Russell had good directors.
Yeah, he did. I mean, if he brings in Edgar Wright for the new season, he's keeping that up. Crazy. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. The villains were great. It
was very good to bring that back.
Yeah.
It's at first show, you need to get the old audience back as well. It's so they had to do a classic villain, but you couldn't. It'd be a bit kind of you could have done the Daleks, but it's I'm glad they saved them for later. Do you know what I mean?
Same.
So it's what villains do we pick? Well, the Pertwee era was very famous. Do you know what I mean? And even though they didn't show up that many times, they showed up twice. Do you know what I mean? And it's good because it's something familiar to the audience as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's familiar, but there's not. While there's history, there's not like the Cybermen or the Daleks where they're constantly, they know very well about the Doctor.
As in, when I mean familiar, I mean the shop window dummies. You know what I mean? It's the plastic. You know what I mean? It's very familiar to the audience. That.
Yeah.
As you know what I mean? It's they get that, and I can understand. And it also one of the episodes that. In the classic series, people say, what episode should I start? And then I start watching it from. People always say Spearhead from Space, which is the John Pertwee first episode, because it's the first one in colour. There's no missing episodes from then on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, it's ironic, it's the first one with the Autons as well. So obviously Russell saw that, and it's like, he didn't redo the episode though. It's a completely different episode, but it's like, let's use that element though of like, this is a reset. This is a jumping on point for people. Do you know what I mean? Like they can start watching from. And I think it was kind of genius how we started with Rose. You know what I mean? We followed Rose through this episode.
Yeah.
Just start with the doctor. It's going to be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the idea of a companion, isn't it? They're grounded. We're watching from their perspective, basically. We don't know an awful lot about the Doctor. He's literally alien. So, following a younger...
No pun intended, will alienate the audience, won't it, if you start with the Doctor, so it's like...
Yeah, exactly.
Even the first episode of the entire show itself, An Unearthly Child, started with Ian and Barbara, so...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, all that.
It's the way to do it. It's usually what you find is the case, unless you've got a Doctor that's already established and he's getting new companions. But
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because even for older fans that are around for Classic Who, the Ninth Doctor's still new to them. So
exactly, that is when it started. The Ninth Doctor doesn't feel like any Doctor that came before. At first, that might be a bad thing because it's like, oh, is this guy really the Doctor? He doesn't feel like he doesn't dress like him. But later on in the series, you realise it's a completely different take onto the other Doctors, and it's a good thing because it is a good take on the Doctor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think by the end of the show, because basically in the 90s, there was many attempts to bring back. Do you know what I mean? The Doctor and. Or like carry on what the story from the classic series, and people didn't really get like the sense of, this is like some people didn't consider Paul McGann canon. Do you know what I mean? Like, they said no, like it's not going to be canon. Do you know what I mean? And then people, even when this show was being brought back, people were like, if it fails, it's not. We're not going to consider it to be canon. Do you know what I mean? We're not. We're just going to say it's that attempt to bring it back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it succeeded, do you know what I mean? And there's going to be a specific episode that everyone always says, like, Classic Who fans say, this is the episode that completely got them on board and said, oh my god, this is actually the same show. Do you know what I mean? We'll get to that episode later, but for now, though, it's like, it must have been great to see, like, the TARDIS show. You know, when Rose runs past it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, even new viewers, I'm thinking of my perspective when I first watched it a few years ago. The things is the TARDIS and the sonic screwdriver. Those are the two things that catch your eye. So even new audiences, they know what the TARDIS is, unless maybe. But even America, they have the film. People know what the TARDIS is.
Oh yeah, I guess it's also good as well because it feels British, the first one.
Yeah.
No, not like it's like a completely. It's like, oh yeah, look how good Britain is and all that. The Doctor's definitely not like that, but there's like an element of, just like the culture of Britain itself. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely there. Like most British people know like stuff from the show. They know what a Dalek is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know what a TARDIS. You know what I mean? And the American one was like, it's an Americanized one. It's like the in-betweeners, like in America. Do you know what I mean? It just feels off. Do you know what I mean? Same for the TV movie. So when this got brought. With starting off with Rose, you can feel like a very similar, it feels at home. What I'm trying to say, do you know what I mean? It feels like back at home. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have issue with Rose as a character, but I think, especially one to start off with as well. She is kind of that. She's a British 19-year-old, and she's kind of perfect in the way that she's not a dumbed down character, but she's not a genius or anything. This is what a companion should be, and like you say, she is kind of at least what Britain was like in the 2000s. So it does have that modern kick to it, and I did note that down. Is that it's a great introduction for what New Who is. Well, what New Who should be.
On Rose to start off with, I think she's great in season 1.
Yeah,
I think season 1. I've always compared her with Amy as well because I think Amy's great in season 5.
Yeah,
I think both got kind of when they started off, they were like on their way to maybe becoming like a top tier companion. Do you know what I mean? Like Sarah Jane and like Ace and like Jamie.
Yeah.
But I feel like the other seasons sort of like dimmed them down to just being a bit more okay. Do you know what I mean? Not. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like. But for season 1 wise, she's great, and it kind of annoys me because I know where she ends up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different problem.
Yeah, we'll see how I feel on a rewatch of season 2, but season 1, yeah, it's undoubtable that she's brilliant, and even when she returns in season 4 for me.
I mean, there is one thing: she does like cheat on Mickey like 18 times.
Yeah.
Well, episode like a new place, she starts like flirting with a new guy, and she brings like 2 of them on board as well. I bet the doctor's just like sick of her. It's like, for God's sake.
I was going to mention that later, to be fair. And unfortunately, Mickey, it doesn't start off great. That's one issue I have with the episode.
Oh yeah, he does end up good. It's kind of annoying that with the actor, though. He's a bit of an arsehole. So.
Yeah.
Not sure if you know Noah Clarke. He's done some bad things. So.
Yeah, he sent me the stuff.
Yeah, let's not that though.
No. And characters is an overall thing for me that didn't make it perfect. Which was kind of, they weren't exactly flushed away. They weren't exactly fleshed out. Which is kind of is basically a pilot, and you can expect that from a pilot.
I mean, I loved how funny it was. Like,
yeah,
there always was a bit of comedy and like a little, a bit like not like Marvel humor where like the mugging off the camera, just a bit of like friendly banter. I love when the doctor goes into the apartment first time and like Jackie's like she deserves compensate, and then he comes in, oh, he's like, oh, we're talking millions, and then she's like, oh, there's a strange man in my room, and he's like, yes, there is. She's like, oh, it can happen, and he's like, no. It just walks out. Brilliant. He's brilliant. Russell just knows how to write. The dialogue and the character, he nailed it. People always said that Russell was good at and dialogue. People thought Moffat was going to be great with story. Do you know what I mean? And like science fiction. Do you know what I mean? That's later on though.
That's a bit later on, yeah.
But if we're going for the episode though, what did you think of the first like sort of proper scene, like in the store?
She's in the store, isn't she?
Yeah, the first, yeah, like it.
I liked it. I think
it's brilliant.
It does what an opening of a Doctor Who episode needs to do. Usually introduces a new character that's going to be following through the story. Introduces the threat. Kind of has that. What do you call it? Suspense, and horror atmosphere, and and then it has that cut off that makes you really excited for the episode. Executes it perfectly.
I mean, what I like about it is it starts off like it's almost like a horror film. You know what I mean? Like a traditional like horror film where this like it's an opening kill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the film's going to be about these like dummies that kill people who actually come to life. It's like oh. And then, as soon as she's about to die, like the doctor just comes and goes, "Bron," and then it just changes. The whole tone just changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the music's like, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think season 1 does that quite well, actually, for the most part.
Yeah.
What's your rating for episode 1 then?
I give
season 1. Sorry, what was I called?
8 out of 10.
Hey, I'll take that's a good rating. I gave it a 9.
I still really like it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I said, it's just the character stuff. Otherwise, it maybe would have been a 10. But 9's a good start for sure.
I think. I guess I thought the ending was a bit rushed, and there were some aspects where I was like,
The ending is a little rushed. I do agree with that, actually.
Just one more thing before we get into the next episode. I loved the TARDIS introduction.
Yeah.
As goes into it. Like she's like, you can't go in a wooden box. And it's just like the suspense until we actually see what's inside. And she goes in, and she comes out immediately like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And what's great is that there's some guy chasing her trying to kill her. Well, it's the Autumn, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she just completely ignores it. Then do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's brilliant because she's just looking at the time. She's like, what the hell? Like she's completely ignored. Like there's some guy trying to chase her behind her. And she's just like taking her time around it. She's like, what? Oh, it's brilliant.
It's one thing you always look forward to, isn't it? When there's a new companion. Them learning all the stuff and they're just losing their mind.
Shouldn't have ruined it.
Yeah, that's true. No, I agree with that.
Gaz, Graham, and Ryan just go in and go, wow.
Yeah.
Just go in there and just be like, yeah. This is normal.
I'm pretty confident in my writing, but writing that bit where they look at the TARDIS and all that, I would be nervous, but I still think I would do better than Chibnall managed to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll do it similar to like that, where like they go in first and they're like, yo, what the hell? Although I do like Amy's though, when she first goes into the TARDIS.
Yeah.
But it's like she's not going out, but she's like completely shocked, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I think season 1. I think episode 1's wrapped up there.
Yeah, we did well.
Yeah.
Episode 2, unfortunately, end of the world.
This is the year 5 billion. And this is the day. Hold on. Welcome to the end of the world.
End of the world. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not that good.
No.
Although, what annoys me every single time is when I watch something like this, I can see good elements in it, and like compared to like other aspects of the show, like the Chibnall run, or even some of the bad classic era episodes, it's like I can actually see like something here. I can see it's just bad execution. Do you know what I mean?
It has something there. I think it has no plot whatsoever, well, any strong plot whatsoever, though. It has the concept of the end of the world. It's like great. And then it doesn't do anything interesting with it. They actually ignore the end of the world at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's what I think it was, and I can in this episode what I remember feeling on the sets as well. It does feel like and I must admit, it doesn't. The new series doesn't do that. It's not a bad thing actually. I'd argue it's a good thing because it's kind of dated now. It feels the sets feel very classic series. Do you know what I mean? Like space. Like, they used to always be like just the aesthetic of it. Or do you know what I mean? Like there's just like these random alien designs that I must admit some of them look terrible. Like like blue guy in a chair. It's just like, oh.
that blue guy in the chair right now. I'm on Google Images, and he pops up so many times. It's annoying.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at some of the sets now, and I gotta say they remind me of some of Blade Runner 2049s actually. Obviously Doctor Who came before, but that kind of like a woodeny look, innit?
Yeah, I mean, I like it, but I'm glad like the classic series used to do that all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like the same aesthetic. Do you know what I mean? So I'm glad the new series. What I mean is, I think the first 3 episodes had to be an introduction episode, modern day.
Yeah.
The future and then like the past. Do you know what I mean? So the future was like, okay, let's do the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? That's something that's not been done. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't pull it off well, but Although the one scene I love with this episode though, it doesn't make the episode. It's still bad. It's still a bad episode. But I love the ending where like they go back to modern day Earth. Do you know what I mean? When Rose sees a whole planet destroyed and she's looking out the window at the sun and it's just rocks and there's like a whole country there just completely to dust. And she just goes back on and they're just like, and you basically realise she's broken the whole. She's going to be a different person from now on. Do you know what I mean? Like she's seen something that no one else would normally see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I also like I like the scene where she calls her mum. I think that works really well too.
No, I do like that as well.
Making the connections, like you were saying, between the modern world ends after the world. It's kind of humbling in it, and I do like those kind of moments. Doctor Who's really good at stuff like that, or it was, and yeah, it is even in the worst episode. Well, I won't say this is a worst episode, but even in some of the not great ones, yeah.
With the whole thing about the calling a mom, I think every companion in the Russell era did that. Like Arthur did it, I know that, and I'm pretty sure Donna did it as well, like something like that.
I like it though.
I like it too.
It's cute.
I like it too. I mean, it makes it even more traumatic in Aliens of London. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is all forgotten, by the way, when we're going to get to that. I'm going to bring it up. It always annoys me, actually. But, I mean, I don't have much to say about this episode, though. It's just...
Neither.
Nothing happens.
My notes
I
just Cassandra was irritating.
She was terrible.
Yeah.
I hate how...
And I was about to say, she returns next season. It's like, why?
Yeah. I know, yeah, literally, it's like, oh my god, why is she back? It's like, what a terrible villain to bring back. I thought they would have brought back the Slovene or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll get into Slovene later, but I love them.
I don't want them back, but for seasons, we'll get on to season 2 just real quickly though. If they wanted to bring one of the villains back from season 1 to like sort of connect it from the last season, do you know what I mean? You know, give David Tennant like an episode where it's like feels like last season, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to bring a character. Why did they bring back Cassandra? There was so many other characters they could have brought back, or like villains, you know, out of this season. I would have thought it would have been like one of the Slovene, to be honest.
I guess they technically got 3 episodes already.
Cassandra, whatever, you know. Okay. That's just that.
I agree. They shouldn't have brought her back. They should have brought the blue guy back. Oh wait, they did. There he's in it, isn't he? He's the same guy. I can't remember.
Yeah, the face of the bird. That's not even confirmed.
Oh yeah, face of bird. Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Man.
What's it?
I gave it a 2 out of 10.
It feels like a bad Graham Williams era episode. That's the second part. That's the second half of the 4th Doctor's era.
Right.
Yeah. Oh well. Let's go on to the next one then.
Well, it's not getting better from there. The Unquiet Dead.
Where do you think you're going?
1860.
Ready for this? Here we go. History.
The stews are getting lively again.
I can't even remember this episode fully. I remember it's got like ghosts and zombies in it.
Yeah,
like
and it's Dickens.
Yeah, Charles Dickens. It was pretty bad, isn't it? You know, he returned.
From the dead.
Charles Dickens. Oh, he returned in the show.
Did he? When? Was it in Peter Capaldi's?
He returned in The Wedding of the Bond.
Did he?
Yeah, for like a little quick cameo. It's the exact same actor and the exact same costume he was wearing. It's like, seriously? You brought him back? Because what annoyed me, because Moffat never brought anything from the Russell era back. It's like, it used to annoy me, that, you know what I mean? It's like none of it happened.
Yeah.
But then, like some aspects, though, and then he brought that back. I was like, why did you bring back Charles Dickens?
Oh, I do not remember that. What? So, how does that work in the timeline, though? Because it leaves off with him dying a week later, doesn't it? He's going to die a week later, the Doctor tells Rose. So, is it a few days after that?
No. Obviously, you can't remember the Wedding of the Song because it's an absolute shit show, but the time's broken. All time is at the exact time. I said time a lot, but that is literally the episode. It's that confusing. Remember, time's paused, you know what I mean? Everything's at the same time.
I think my brain got rid of that episode from my mind, honestly.
I hate that episode. It's still the worst episode of all time. It basically, he's getting interviewed by a TV show, I think.
Oh.
I can't even to be honest, I should have rewatched this. I really can't remember much about it. I just remember Charles Dickens in it. Rose doesn't like Cardiff.
Like a couple of things happen. Bad
okay.
Wolf is said by the woman with like supernatural powers, and she kind of calls out Rose and the Doctor for what they are. An old woman goes about as a ghost, and Dickens helps them by doing nothing really.
He's not. There is one. I've just remembered one aspect of the episode. This episode's massive for the Russell era. Absolutely humongous.
Why?
It's basically, what's it? At the end, there's a rift that gets opened. They do that, and then they come back to it in later on in the season, don't they? With what's the episode called?
In Boomtown, yeah.
Not only that, they come back to it in season 3 finale, Utopia. Where Jack like comes back into it.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking when I say this. It's the whole point of Torchwood as well. You've probably not seen the whole point was there was a rift.
The Unquiet Dead is the most impactful episode.
It's weird, but weird. I mean, even in Stolen Off Journey's End.
Yeah.
Like the way they reconnect with the Doctor, they use the rift, don't they?
That's crazy. That's why he brought back Charles Dickens.
Also, the actress, the maid.
Yeah.
She's that's actually an ancestor of the main character of Torchwood.
Oh, I'm not watching Torchwood.
They use the same actress, do you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, okay. Do you know what I
mean? Oh, God.
Last episode, though, were they zombies? No, they were ghosts.
No, they were ghosts. That's how they kind of connected it to Dickens, because he was telling the story of the ghosts of Christmas Past, and he was describing what Marley looks like, and then the woman was just sat in the seat watching it, and he was like, "Oh, it looks like her," and they all look, and then she decides to attack.
So remember that, but this episode was written by Mark Gatiss. He's one of the longest writers in the show. He wrote at least one episode from season 1 to season 10. Wow. Let me read. He's got a pretty bad record, I must admit. I'm gonna quickly go through it. So he wrote this. I think he might have wrote Fear Her. Oh no! He wrote The Idiot's Lantern from next season. I'm pretty sure.
Oof.
That's the TV one.
Oof.
He then wrote. I can't remember. To be honest, he was mainly in the Moffat era. What I remember. Let me just. I'm going to real quickly go for this. I can remember it anyway. Victory of the Daleks.
Oh no.
He wrote that other one in season 6.
I can barely remember season 6, That rewatch is going to be interesting.
Yeah, he wrote the Ice Warrior one in season 7.
Damn.
He wrote the Robin Hood one in season 8.
Oh my.
He wrote one I've not even seen in season 9. I heard it was terrible. It was like the one before Face the Raven. And then he wrote the Ice Warriors again.
Does he know how to write?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's not got a good track record with episodes, that's all.
Well, so, his first episode from me gets a 1 out of 10. There you go. Yeah, 1 out of 10. We both gave it. So.
Oh no, I gave it a 2 or a 3. I can't remember it. Oh no, I gave it a 2. That sounds about right. I was looking at my IMDb one. No, because it is a 2. Because I also can't remember it at all. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just saying it's another boring English history episode. I always feel like
it's kind of harsh, but it is ironic when like she comes out and she goes, "Oh, I don't care, I'm loving this." And he goes, "Oh, we're also in Cardiff," and she's like, "Oh, this sucks." My first back in time, and I'm in Cardiff.
Depressing.
Sorry. Yeah.
Aliens of London.
Big Ben destroyed as a UFO crash lands in central London.
Okay, so she comes back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so a year's passed.
Yeah, that's a great way to start, by the way. I actually forgot about that, and I was like, oh my god. That's good.
Yeah, the show forgot that happened as well. Everyone always forgets that a year's passed, so now we're in 2006.
Yeah.
Everyone always forgets that with the dates, though. I mean, so they think season 2 is in 2006. Technically, if it was right, then season 2 is 2007. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everyone always forgets this. Do you know what I mean? And like people say, oh, maybe Rose was in 2004. Well, no, because the Doctor goes in at the time, and he sees her in 2005. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's reaching a bit since she was in 2004.
Everyone always forgets this, and it gets on my nerves. Do you know what I mean? Because then they go, oh, yeah. Donna during the time in 2008. It was like, well, technically it's in 2009. Just forgetting the year. Yeah. Also, don't they kill the old Prime Minister? What's his name? In this episode.
Is it Tony? No.
Yeah, Tony Blair.
Is it Tony Blair? I don't want to look like an idiot. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was meant to be him. I don't think they said the old Prime Minister, do you know what I mean? And then like the dummy that falls out looks like him, do you know what I mean?
I didn't actually notice. It was really quick. It
looks like they have like the same hairstyle and everything, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's probably what they were going for anyway.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, it was very politically heavy. There's like a bit where they goes, oh yeah, weapons of mass destruction we found. Then he goes, do you think they'll believe them? It's like, well, they believed them last time. It's like, ooh.
That's true. This whole two-parter could be a bit of commentary. It's
very common. I mean, I like the premise, you know, like, oh, this is the first contact with aliens. I find it funny at the end where they say, oh no, it's all a hoax, like in the newspapers. Like they have no proof of it.
I'd be along with those people that say it's a hoax too, to be honest. But like, load of rubbish. I just want us to be scared.
It's like when the Doctor's in, it's like, oh yeah, the human race. I think there's an answer. You're all thick.
Yeah. And like later when in Boomtown when Mickey's asking about the TARDIS and does no one notice a big blue box, and he's like, people just walk by if they see anything. That's how the human race works.
Mickey, do you want to know when people like see a big blue box in the middle of the road? You know what they're gonna do? Nothing. Now come, let's go. It's true though, is it? You just saw it. It's just like, who cares? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what exactly are they going to do? They can't unlock it anyway.
Exactly. A funny moment where the dog just materialises and Mickey's out running at it and he just runs into the walls. It's gone. I was like, that's funny. What do you think? What happens when if someone runs at it? You know what I mean?
I've always seen this episode a couple of times, but I've seen that clip 1,000 times.
Yeah.
There it is. What do you think of the Savine?
Terrible. I don't like them.
Really?
Yeah. They're just stupid, aren't they?
I
they were
love
made
them.
for kids. I thought you would.
Yeah. I like that they're ridiculous and stupid. I love the depiction of aliens in Doctor Who because it's a lot more smarter. It's, you know, they're not all green and, you know, gooey. But this time they go for it, which is kind of perfect. It's Earth's first contact with aliens, Of course they look like this. This is how we imagined it.
That's true.
But one thing is that they're farting, and it's...
one thing I will say, I'd definitely do like a comedy episode. Like if I ever wrote one, it would definitely be about like all like the bad Doctor Who aliens. I would put these in there as ones that are like funny. Do you know what I mean? Like just a joke. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh my god, they brought them back. You know, like the you know, Peter Kay from Monsters.
Yeah.
Like, you know, man.
See, that's too stupid for me. I can't be dealing with that. Slovenes are right about stupid. I still take them seriously. I take them very seriously in Boomtown. So,
you know, I just wouldn't bring them back at all. And for a one-off fill-in as well, and there's been some great ones, by the way. I'm going to talk about the Empty Child soon as well. They're not that good. I must, like, as in, like, for me at least, like, when I look back at, like, either there's some good recurring ones, or there's some, like, good one-off ones. And, like, in the classic series, I think of, like, Morbius, not the Spider-Man one, there's another film, Morbius, Sutek, Scaroff, you know, the guy from Androzani, you know, I'm very bad with names. Charles Jack, that's it. You know, there's some great one-off films. I wouldn't class the Slovene as that.
I disagree, to be honest, but
you know.
but you know, I will say I enjoyed the first episode a lot more than the second. Yeah.
I actually like the episodes. Actually, I think it's actually kind of. I think people like to be harsh on it because this season's very good. Do you know what I mean? So they have to be harsh on some episodes. Do you know what I mean?
True, but I mean they're not exactly void of those. They've still got back to back there of End of the World and The Unquiet Days. So
people consider both of them to be alright for some reason. I don't know why, but
I strongly disagree with that.
It's nostalgia-wise, you know what I mean?
No. Aliens are fun and it's awesome. I do think the first half an hour of the second part could have been cut out completely, and then it could have expanded on the not the opening 20 minutes even. I was working in hours then. The first half, the opening 20 minutes, that could have been cut out, and the last 20 minutes could have been expanded. Because I felt like the first 20 minutes were unnecessary, kind of the exact same as the first part. Second part, it was rushed. So that's my issue with it.
There are some good moments. You know what? Again with Torchwood, this is the first appearance of one of the Torchwood members, actually.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if you know this. You know when he goes and it's that pig. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fate. You know the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Not the doctor. The doctor who's working on the thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's actually of Torchwood.
I thought I recognised it, but I also haven't seen Torchwood, but I've seen pictures and all that.
Yeah. There's like a quick reference in one of the episodes because something happens, a big one, and she goes, "Oh yeah, what was your first day again?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, to deal with a pig alien thing in London." I was like, "Oh my god, it is her. It's the same actress." I was like, "Oh my god, it's the same character."
I mean, you just mentioned the pig there as well, actually, and the pig was cute, and that made me depressed. So
yeah, in it, yeah. The stuff with Jackie was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I like how Russell took it seriously. You know, he said, like the police officer goes, "So when you say companion, is this a sexual relationship?" No. It's just like I like how Russell is making this like the real. It is like the real world. You know what I mean? He takes it completely seriously. I love it.
They do ask the right questions of humans in Russell T's era. He's very good at that. Yeah, he's quite smart.
There's no worst Uber ever.
Worst Uber ever.
I mean, it was genuinely traumatic, though. You know, the stuff with Jackie and Rose, though, when like, "Did you go?" It's like he couldn't tell her. And the doctor's moaning because Jackie slapped him. He's like, 900 years, I've never been slapped before.
And again, Russell T's really good at that balance. There's some proper moments that really get you, and then there's always one person there that can light up with the right amount. It's not like with the 13th Doctor where they try to be serious and they cut out the serious with this is awkward. I'm not very socially.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Back. So I don't know what to do with the situation, so I'm just going to look. That is okay. That's my canon explanation of why she's not the Doctor.
Yeah, she's a fraud. We're still waiting for the 13th Doctor.
Like, she calls the government, you know, and she's like, "Oh my god," you know, and she's naming all like the what's it, all like the things. She's like, "I've seen an alien." You know, the Doctor, and she goes, she's got a TARDIS, and then when they type in TARDIS into the system, it just goes red alert. Do you know what I mean? Because of course it's a reference. And he references is unit days. Unit are actually technically in this episode. What annoys me a bit about the first Russell era seasons, the first 3 at least, anyway. Unit are like non-existent, so like they're there, but it's like they don't do anything. They're just like honestly. Don't do anything. They do stuff in season 4 though. You know, like the Sontaran 2-parter. You're like, okay, there you go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I did like that moment, that little moment where I don't. The Russell T does as well. I don't want the Doctor to be a god, but I want him to be known. I want him to be this figure still.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I always said this. I think it's not just that the Doctor's a god. It's more. Time Lords are way over humans, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, way more meaningful, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I like just him having this aura. We didn't actually mention this in Rose, but where, with that guy who's just obsessed with the Doctor, I love that part. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. you know, there was like a comic book strip where the reason he was obsessed was his dad died in the 60s. He was like a sergeant, and like, he died of mysterious reasons. What's it? So he was always like obsessed, you know, like on a comic strip. But then you find out his dad was actually one of the soldiers in remembrance of the Daleks.
That's incredible.
That's amazing, isn't it? like one of the soldiers that got killed in that episode was actually his dad.
That's really good. Well, it's not good but that's really great. That's interesting.
And I love it. Goes when he finally realised, I knew it. The stories are all true. It's all. I love that bit because it's like a reference to the classics. It's like, oh my god, all the stories are true. They all happened. Do you know what I mean? You get a bit of sense, and then like as soon as he dies, he gets shot in the head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's not a god, but he's almost just a legend figure. The Doctor.
Yeah, he's a legend. Of course, he would be. He's back in drugs for the time.
Yeah.
The best representation of what I've seen has happened, like when you said that, where the Doctor's more meaningful. It's not God, but it's more meaningful. I know you don't like the episode on the first watch. You might like it a lot more on the second watch. I love the episode. It's season 3 called Human Nature.
Oh, I
can't wait to go. I can't wait to go. Definitely rewatch it, please.
Of course,
there's a lot. But... Even if you don't like it, I want you to watch it. You know what I mean? So. You understand what I'm saying, do you know what I mean?
I mean, of course, I give it a rewatch, but that is one I clearly remember not liking.
Okay, just watch it. Just watch it again. That's all I'm saying.
I'll get there.
I don't have much more to say. Oh yeah, Harriet Jones, I guess.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
I do actually like Harriet Jones. Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
She was at the best part of the Christmas 2-parter. She showed up again.
Yeah, and she actually outshined Rose in this episode as well. They spent a lot of the time together.
She was great in Stolen Earth. You know, she dies. You know what I mean? I just love it. Like that's the way she went out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, awesome. And I like that the Doctor remembers the name, but he can't remember why.
Oh yeah, that. What I love about it, season 1, I've noticed almost every episode is so important to like the rest of the series.
It is.
Because like Quite Dead, like completely references like it has aspects to the rest of the season, and then other series, and then also Torchwood.
Yeah.
And then The End of the World is basically one of a trilogy. Do you know what I mean? Cassandra shows up in season 2 on New Earth, and then New Earth is in season 3 again. So, yeah.
We've mentioned this before, but Russell T's Air is basically its own short show.
It is.
Yeah.
mental because almost every episode means something. Like when you watch this episode, it's like it just the stakes impact the rest of the other episodes in the future. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I say this episode goes into Boomtown.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's episodes later. That's right at the end, right before the finale.
Exactly. I don't have much more to say about this one. I still like it. I still like both of them.
I'm a big fan. Not the best two-parter out there, or in the season, but I gave. Sorry.
It's probably the weakest two-parter, but it's still good though. This season's great. It just shows how good this season is, and it gets really good.
What's the other two-parter? Oh, The Empty Child.
Yeah.
I prefer this, but we'll get into that later.
Right.
I gave this Aliens of London an 8 and World War III a 7.
I give Aliens of London an 8. I'll give World War III a 6.
Okay, that's fair. I do have my problems with World War III.
Right.
On to Dalek.
Give us 2 seconds.
I've come to help. I'm the doctor. Exterminate! Impossible.
Let's go. You know what I was saying before? There was a specific episode that got the classic series fans on.
Yeah.
Like, at the time, what I heard, that got them completely on board is this episode.
I thought so. Yeah.
What isn't there about this episode? It's magnificent. It's brilliant. It's so good. It's not meant to be, but it is so good.
It's really where Christopher Eccleston shines with his Doctor.
Yeah.
He perfectly captures the Doctor. There's one thing having your own Doctor. Ninth's different to 10th, 10th's different to 11th, but they're all still the Doctor. There's still that history behind and stuff like that, and he captures both perfectly. Yeah, and the legend of the Doctor really comes out in this episode, whereas in the earlier ones there's more that's hidden, and his is his fantastic personality that the Ninth has. Yeah,
I mean this episode, it feels like a continuation of the classic series. Finally, do you know what I mean? Like, okay, in the opening episode of Love, you see a Cyberman helmet, don't you?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's a reference to the invasion, and it makes sense because basically that episode is where the Cybermen invade Earth. Do you know what I mean? Helmet, it's like it makes sense that if someone did have that, and like when Christopher Eccleston looked at it, oh my god, look at you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and he's like, oh look, it's an old friend. He's like, oh, he's an old friend. It's like, yeah, man, the Cybermen. We've not seen him in like 18 years, and we still technically haven't properly.
Yeah,
and it's the exact same Daleks, by the way. We haven't seen them since like 87, I think, 88.
It's a long time for a long-term enemy, isn't it? This is almost reminiscent.
One thing, the Daleks did get slaughtered by pop culture. They started becoming a massive joke. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not completely answer because basically, what I find with them is in the classic series, their concept was always a bit more too much for the budget at the time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They couldn't be properly for what the concept was. Do you know what I mean? And we knew what they could do. It's like this: we knew they could fly. They were that powerful. They could fly, but they only did it in one episode. Do you know what I mean? They never did it again.
Yeah.
And we knew how powerful they were. We knew what they could do in specific episodes, but they never did it again, though. And then sometimes they got killed stupid. And there was always the whole thing of, they can't climb stairs. Do you know what I mean? This episode basically made them completely what they were meant to be. Do you know what I mean? From what they were talked about in the classic series, do you know what I mean? In some episodes, creature in the universe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes where it's they get knocked off a cliff and they just explode, or they keep killing themselves. Or one gets battered with a baseball bat, which anyway, they did say it was super strong metal in that baseball bat, but whatever. But answers every single one. Oh, what's that sucker for? Do you know what I mean? The toilet plunger. Which she just suffocates the guy to death. Okay, wow. I guess that doesn't work. what's it? Oh yeah, we should just go behind it. It's so slow. Oh no! I just shoot with a gun. Oh no, guns don't work against it at all. Actually, well, yeah, because they are tanks, aren't they? Alien tanks.
And then there's even cinematic language that they use before we even see that like amazing moment where the Dalek does levitate from up the stairs, and you're like, oh my god. And even before that, through cinematic language of the Ninth Doctor's reaction to the Dalek completely chained up and can't hurt him. He's still terrified. Yeah, it's incredible.
One of the best moments in the whole entire show, when he just goes in and just sees the lights, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so excited because basically people obviously they were following this show. It's like, oh my god, there's going to be another show coming back. We'll see how it is. Basically, the Daleks are actually owned by not the BBC. They're owned by the writer. And he's dead now, but his estate still owns the rights to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's called Terry Nation. That's the guy. Basically, they weren't sure if they were going to allow the new series to use it because they didn't know if it was going to be good or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, there was honestly there was a time for a couple months where it's like they were expecting not to be in this series. Do you know what I mean? So the Tuckler thing in season 3, the Master.
Yeah.
They were going to be the main villains of this season, like a new villain.
Really?
Yeah, of course. Then they got replaced with because it was going to be the Daleks, but then if not, okay, we just going to replace it with these new villains. But then they did get the Daleks in. And when it happened, basically, it was kind of big. It was like, oh my god, they're going to show up again. What it was they hadn't shown up at all since Remembrance. The TV movie didn't have the Master was. They said the Master was like his arch nemesis, which he wasn't. Do you know what I mean? They didn't show up in any animation or anything like that. And, there was an animated series that isn't canon anymore. It was called Scream of the Shalka. Again, has the Master in it. Everything had the Master. It's like, oh my god. So the Daleks genuinely hadn't shown up since Remembrance. This episode, when it was announced they were going to come up again, everyone was like, oh my gosh. Do you know what I mean? Or there was a bit of a question they have been kind of a joke recently. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And basically, what the thing is, they weren't sure if it was going to work in the modern day. Do you know what I mean? They were like, how's this going to work? The redesign for the new series is beautiful. It's so good.
I was going to say that this is one of my favourite looks for the Dalek.
It made it better, just because we got the images of it, and I'm not sure if you got Google near you, just look at season 1 design and magazine front cover. It was the first look of it. It was if you can't look, I can describe it. Magazine.
I'm looking at it.
It was a reference to the what's it? It was a reference to oh yeah, here it is. It was Radio Times.
Radio Times. Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Does it say Louis Theroux on it? On the right?
What did you say?
Does it say Louis Theroux on the magazine on the right?
I don't think so. Not on mine, at least, anyway. I'm just going to send you it now. I'll send it you now.
Oh right, yeah, that's not come up for me.
That was the first image we saw. Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" It's a reference to the Dark Invasion of Earth image, and it's like, "Oh my god!" Look at that new design. They just look like because originally you see the old design and you're like, "Can that work in the modern day?" Do you know what I mean? It kind of looks a bit dated. Do you know what I mean? Some of the designs.
Yeah.
You look at that one, you're like, "Oh my god!" It completely looks like that looks like a tank. Do you know what I mean? With all the bolts and everything. Do you know what I mean? On the sides and all that.
Yeah, that's almost become for at least our generation anyway, kind of the recognised look of the Dalek now.
I think it is in general because they've not officially changed. They're still here technically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's from 2005. It's officially the longest running look.
It's actually got the 13th Doctor's one.
Exactly. We're in 2003 now. No, we're not. We're in 2023. Look, 18 years they've been that.
Yeah.
They've not changed 18 years. They've been attempts, but they've not changed at all. 18 years. No other design's been like that. I think the the gunmetal one from Genesis, that was already there anyway. I think that was like 15 years. I think it was official in when Revolution of the Daleks came out under Jodie Whittaker. I think it was official these are the longest running designs now. Do you know what I mean for a Dalek?
Yeah.
It tells you how good they are, that they've not been able to change in 18 years. Do you know what I mean? That they're that good that there's been attempts to change the look and they've just never worked. Do you know what I mean? Because they just can't top it.
What would you change about it? It's so good.
I'll probably, you know what? In the classic series, they didn't change the model that much at all. Maybe a couple of tweaks. Do you know what I mean? So I keep the same model, how it looks. I just changed the colour. Like a new colour design, do you know what I mean?
The rainbow Daleks.
I wouldn't mind some black ones.
It's a black one right here on the one I'm looking at right now.
I don't mind just different colour design, different colour. A black and blue one, like mainly black with a couple of blue in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm looking at one right now that's literally right there. I
wouldn't mind. What I mean is, Dalek Sec. I love the metallic look. I love it. It's so good. I wouldn't. Basically, what I mean is, it looks a bit more alien than. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although the mold of the Daleks anyway are very alien. Do you know what I mean? The genius. That's the genius. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're great design. But look, I'm not like I don't like them, but I think it is a time for a bit of a colour change. I didn't mind the green ones in Victory, but they got killed immediately, so whatever. What was it? Well, the design's perfect. I'd say so. I don't think there's any bad part about it. Do you know what I mean?
I agree, and I'm looking at some. When I was mentioning before, some episodes are beautifully shot. I think this is one actually, and it's not just that the use of colour in it. Obviously, the blue is so iconic.
Yeah.
But even it looks gorgeous in it's being kind of rained on with all that water. Right towards the ends. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
What was I going to say? I love in this episode how it's a character, the Dalek's a character, because in the classic series they were as well.
Yeah.
Not every episode they were, but same power of the Daleks. There was 3 of them. There was 3 Daleks in there. Every single one felt like their own character. Do you know, like a character in the story? Do you know what I mean? They weren't just like a robot alien. Do you know what I mean? In the background. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this was an actual character. Do you know what I mean? That he talked to. You can. What I mean is, from like an outside, they look like a robot. Do you know what I mean? But they're not. It's very clear what they are. This was in the classic series as well. They're a mutated alien inside. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love how it opened up its shell properly. It wasn't like it was the first time we saw an outside Dalek, because when most of the times they got blown up, there was like this like green goose that came out. Do you know what I mean? Like a bit like a Dalek flesh that like is popping out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like the first time we probably saw one like out of its cage alive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the ending's brilliant. Where it's like looking at the sun. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's a really sweet moment. But it's like, nah, I need to kill myself now. It's like, wow.
It's tragic.
It's very messed up.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm joking, damn it.
No, it's saved it. I just need to keep going. There you go. I like that they opened it up too. But even before that, you felt that it wasn't a robot anyway. I feel like that's what you should do.
I mean, just look at the first scene with the cage. In the cage, you know.
Yeah.
The complete conversation. He's like, they're both the exact same. They're like, oh my god, all of our races are dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's that line where he goes, "I am alone in the universe," and he goes, "We are the same," and then like the Doctor's like, "Oh my, we are not the same." And there's an element of this. What I like about it is the Dalek goes, "Oh yeah, you admit the Dalek sees something in the Doctor." Do you know what I mean? Like that was always present in the classics. Oh, like there's an element where they're the same almost. Where he goes, "You would make a good Dalek," because there is like a bit of fury in the Doctor's character. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Christopher Eccleston pulls off really well too, and you really see it in this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in what it is, where that starts from is literally the first ever episode, the second episode of Doctor Who: The Daleks. At that point, the William Hartnell's Doctor was kind of a bad person to start off with. Like, kidnapped his companions. He almost killed like a caveman in the first episode, apparently. And that doesn't seem like the Doctor at all, but apparently I think he was like protecting Susan, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What basically in the Daleks, the Doctor's kind of a bad person, do you know what I mean? There's an element, it goes all the way through that where like when they don't actually know each other, they're actually like, the Doctor's talking like, "What's your plan then?" Do you know what I mean? He's trying to understand them, and he's like, "Okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this." He's like, "All right, fair enough." And he goes, "All right, we're going to commit genocide." He's like, what? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always been there, and it's very present in this episode, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, but I keep thinking to that opening scene, and when he's saying all that stuff to the Dalek, obviously I'm aware of all the horrible stuff the Daleks have done, but I'm still kind of, I don't know, I feel uncomfortable with the stuff he's saying. It's another life at the end of the day, and it's not like that's just my brain thinking that, although it naturally does think that. Dalek emphasises on that, and like you said, when he says, "You make a good Dalek," that's the stuff the Daleks are saying. You go to the finale later on, they're saying pretty much the equivalent of what he's saying in that kind of interrogation scene, I guess you could call it.
Okay, there's one other aspect I want to, and you are completely right there. But there's another aspect I want to talk about this. So this episode was written by a guy called Robert Sherman. He was a big Finnish writer.
All right.
So when Russell T Davies was making this, and he officially got the Daleks back, do you know what I mean? Like, they were definitely going to be in it. He's like, "Okay, we can't mess this up," do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the most of the Dalek story at the time was a big Finnish story that I want to watch, and it's called Jubilee. Apparently Dalek's influence like that. It's almost like an adaptation of that, but it's not. Because basically he went in and he's like, "I just want to get an adaptation of Jubilee." That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Russell T. So he basically said to Robert Sherman, "Would you write it?" And he said, "Yeah." What's great about Robert Sherman was he didn't just write the same story. People say like Jubilee and Dalek, there's similar aspects, but like Dalek is bare bones of that story, and even then the bare bones are very, very slim. Apparently the only thing that they proper took about it was apparently the scene with Christopher Eccleston and the Dalek in the cage. There's a similar scene in Jubilee, but it's not the same though. Like the dialogue's completely different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that one's more. I think that one's more like the Doctor's talking about how it's got like chained up and everything. But yeah, I find it genius. He came in, and Russell T Davies says, "I want you to do an adaptation of Jubilee," and he goes, "Well, I'm going to write a story similar, it's going to be a small scale story set in like one location. Do you know what I mean? Where that Dalek's sort of like chained up and everything. But apart from that, I'm going to make it a completely separate story. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's brilliant from him because he basically wrote two separate Dalek stories, completely different almost, but with like the same bones.
That's brilliant. That's how I really strongly believe that's how adaptation should be done. I ring this bell all the time, but if you're going to adapt a book or whatever you're adapting, it shouldn't end up the same. Even if there's just slight tweaks, you've got to create your own story out of it. It's more of a reference point, something to jump off from, something that you've got an example from, rather than let's recreate this. Because then I've already got that in my hands. I can already watch this. I can already consume this.
Exactly. I mean, I've not seen Jubilee, but apparently that episode is about. It's an audio play. apparently it's about, and this is genius. I can't wait to listen to this. It's basically like you know how the Daleks meant to be Nazis.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of commentary on, you know how the Nazis became like a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
That's what Jubilee's about. Like apparently, like people like in like a society where people laugh at the Daleks, that they're like a joke. Do you know what I mean? So when like a Dalek comes on, like when they see one, they just start laughing their asses off. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean, or something like that. Like a Mickey take of it. That's what that commentary is. I was like, that's genius. That's a good way. Like you think of what else is like a Nazi thing. Oh yeah, people making fun of it. That's genius. But that's not at all in this episode though. That just shows like that's what Jubilee's about. This one has nothing about that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, Robert Sherman, he's very on meta. Like he's very meta fiction. That's what he does.
Yeah.
This, and he said this, and I actually saw another YouTuber mention this. I was like, oh my god, I can actually see it now when you rewatch it. This is a commentary about how the show killed itself, like how it was its own destruction. Do you know what I mean?
In what way?
As in, like, it destroyed itself by being too like nostalgia heavy, sort of sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh, so like the stuff with the museum, and he's going, you're preventing us from going further. You know, humanity's getting all these alien technology now, and instead of reaching for the stars, you're burying it under the soil and stuff like that.
I love that line.
Yeah.
There's a bit. It's in the cage where it's like where the Dalek goes, "You destroyed us." Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, he's like, I destroyed the Daleks and the Time Lords. I watched it happen. I made it happen. And I goes, you destroyed us. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that's what he does. And he has actually said, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, the Doctor destroyed the show. Do you know what I mean? Like, because the old show got too carried away. Although it isn't. It is the Michael Gray's fault why he got cancelled, because he had a vendetta against the show because he cut his budget, and then he went, see, look how crap it is. It's like, well, yeah, you cut the budget, you idiot. But what's it? But it's a nice commentary about how the show sort of got carried away. Like it's very in the Sixth Doctor's run. Do you know what I mean? How like sort of destroyed itself. It got too carried away sometimes. You know what I mean? And it's very much, and it's also commentary as well, which I like. It's about where do you find yourselves now? Do you know what I mean? Like, can the show really survive in the new era? And that it shows in the final scene where Rose goes, look, Doctor, the Dalek's changing. What about you, Doctor? What the hell are you changing into? It's perfect. It's basically the line of, how can Doctor change, do you know what I mean, to adapt to the new series, do you know what I mean? It's adapting, do you know what I mean? And it's good because this is also an episode about how the Daleks are like new. It's portrayed very new, do you know what I mean? Like in the 2000s, do you know what I mean? Like very action packed, do you know what I mean? They can actually do stuff they couldn't last time, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This episode's so good. And I thought it's very subtle as well, do you know what I mean? That aspect about it being very meta, because I didn't get that first time, but when you notice it second time, I'm like, oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, now you've mentioned that adds another perspective. It's quite layered.
It's just another layer, isn't it? Yeah, it's just another layer that I just didn't get the first. Wow, it's so good. It's
very
so
interesting.
Good.
Why do you give it?
Easy.
I give it a 9.
That's fair enough still.
I think it's more down to personal taste rather than anything. I like a little. Well, when I say surrealism, obviously it's it's not realistic. There's this floating, aliens and stuff. But I mean, in terms of a science fiction story, it's quite grounded and down to earth. There's nothing wrong with it, but I do like a bit of obnoxious surrealism to make it perfect for me. But 9's a great rating anyway.
Yeah, 9's still great. Yeah, I'm not offended at that.
And I also thought Rose did well in this episode too. I thought she didn't get too much in the way. She did a character role.
Well, she was kind of thinking of it.
Well, no, I mean, And when I say in the way, I mean I'm trying to think of like season 11 and stuff, where the companions are constantly butting in with these certain things, and they kind of ruin the momentum of the story.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
But then again, that's the worst of all time. So
yeah.
You know, they make clock. You know.
Well, that was fun talking about that. Unfortunately, we have to go on to the long game now.
The fourth great and bountiful human empire, planet Earth at its height.
Cronk burger with cheese, cronk burger with pajamas.
Something's wrong.
Well, it's not the Unquiet Days.
Go on to the next story.
Sorry, what was that?
Give our ratings and then go on to the next story.
Yeah. No, Simon Pegg's in this, and he got dedicated to the look, which I appreciate, honestly. I thought he did a good job, actually, in an episode that isn't great. The boyfriend was irritating, so annoying. I was so glad when the doctor dropped. So obviously, Russell T. Khan wanted us to feel that, but there was no entertainment factor. Even with Mickey not being great at this point, I still don't despise him. He's getting better. This boyfriend is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just very slow, nothing happened. Oh, fake news commentary. So the season 1's very politically heavy, do you know what I mean?
It is, yeah. Russell T likes that. Yeah.
Even though Boomtown was kind of still playing, also, there's a funny joke as well. Did you notice that in this season everyone's a capitalist? All the villains are capitalists.
That's true, yeah.
They're all trying to make money, like the Slovene, this guy, in this one. I'm pretty sure there was someone else in this season as well. Oh yeah, Cassandra. She's trying to make a
yeah.
But why are they all capitalists is weird.
He watched too many Michael Moore documentaries before it.
Oh yeah, Captain Jack.
Yeah.
Every episode I'm trying to make a profit. That's just I'm not buying.
Crazy. But
I think it doesn't link to the finale on it has the same satellite file, but it's like the Jaggerfest. It's like, how does that link to a Dalek? I was like, what?
Yeah, that's about it. There's not even a strong connection. That I mean, I kind of liked the idea. To be honest, I don't think it was very well executed at all. And I watched it this morning, I think, actually. So I might have started the day off with the long game, rather than Father's Day. And what a depressing start.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just no.
Yeah. What did I give it? I think I gave it 6.
I give it a 2.
Wow.
This might be the worst episode of the series. I really don't like this one, actually.
I don't hate it. Oh, I gave it a 5. I agree with that. I really like Simon Pegg in it. And again, Ninth Doctor shined in it. And I do like the idea. Like I say, it just wasn't extremely well executed at all.
No.
But I don't feel strongly against it. I'll probably forget it next week. It's already fading from memory, so...
Yeah.
On to the next one then.
Father's Day. I love Father's Day.
Father's Day is awesome.
Your wish is my command, but be careful what you wish for.
The day my father died. Thought it'd be all grim and stormy. It's just an ordinary day. Oh gosh, this is it.
I love Father's Day. The one villain that I wish came back as well on this one, the Reapers.
I agree.
They never come. Always annoyed me because it's like they're such a great idea, concept. They should be all over the Moffat era. Time's always getting messed up in there.
I was going to say, even if they just came back in the Moffat era, but with Moffat gave up on doing that entirely. So
yeah, exactly. It's British genius, so good. It's like such a great such a great companion episode. Chibnall literally tried to rip it off with Demons of the Punjab. Like, wow, awful rip-off. Like, yeah, like a dad died. Like, her dad wasn't there, like a mum in the first couple episodes. You're like, what happened to her dad? Probably nothing. No, he's dead.
Oh, we're going to get this amazing episode out of it. Crazy. The scenes between Rose and her dad are incredibly gripping. I cannot take my eyes off them. It's incredible.
I like how you go back and like she has like these. She thinks that it was a perfect relationship. Do you know what I mean? And if he actually survived, they might have got divorced. I love when they start arguing and thinking and talking about divorce, and she's like, "Shut up, you love each other."
Yeah, and it was so sad. It was a big move from Russell T to make that, but that's why he was so great. There's no way Chibnall would do that. There'd be loving parents, but it's not quite the reality all the time.
Exactly.
It's heartbreaking.
I love the bit where it's like the married couple like, "Can you please save us?" And the doctor's like, "How did you meet?" And it's like a nice little story about how they met. And he's like, and he promises he's going to get them out of it. Do you know what I mean?
I was about to mention that too. Even just they're not exactly extras, but the characters who don't, they could easily just ignore them, get them to sit down in the church and shut up. They have their own stories. His dad's just died. It's the groom's dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
I mean, I love the bit as well where like the doctor's like silent when she messed up times. You know what I mean? And then the doctor goes, "When I offered you a place to come with me and travel in space, you declined. But then I said time machine," and then he has a suspicion on all along. And it's like, yeah, you're not thinking that. You know, it's like, and then he's like, "Oh, I've picked up another stupid ape."
You feel for the Ninth Doctor there as well.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you feel for the Doctor there as well. He's really great at extracting emotion, Russell T.
Just been used by another human, all horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not like that, though. Do you know what I mean? It's just a scenario that happened. Do you know what I mean? And she just couldn't. Of course, she's going to save her dad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Rose isn't a horrible person, but the lines connect, don't they? That's just the awful thing.
Yeah. It's brilliant. The ending's brilliant. How they did change something on like there's actually he didn't die alone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Brilliant.
I mean, it's not very complicated. This episode. There's not much to say about it. It's very, very good. It's just really good.
It is one of those where you're a little quiet after it. Because you've seen some before. Like Dalek, it's layered. There's a lot of relationships and history going on in that, and deeper meaning. Yeah. Father's Day, it's blunt with its message, and it's kind of just seeing it play out.
Exactly. It's so I guess I'll give it a rating now because I don't have any fun. It's just very. I'll give it a 9.
I give it a 9 too. Again, nothing wrong with it. Just maybe not that. Entertainment's a broad word. There's different parts of entertainment. I'm entertained by the drama and the realism of it, other than, the flying time things. But the grounded nature of it, I do like that. I also want a source of entertainment of weird surrealism, which you can't. That would have ruined the episode, to be fair. It just means these type of episodes, they're not gonna be my favourite.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. We're on to a 2-parter again. The second.
I've got the dances. I watched that last night.
Where's that mean, Mummy?
You mustn't let him touch you.
Are you a doctor?
I have my moments.
They've all got the same injuries. Right down to the scar on the back of the hand.
Physical injuries as plague.
Hello.
Well, did you like it more or like it less on the second watch?
The exact same. It's just it just reminds me of why I love it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those episodes. Yeah, I love this Stephen Moffat's first episode for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It was his first bit of being the next showrunner. Do you know what I mean? I love this episode. What about you? What do you want to talk about any aspects first? Like you thought?
I did think it was great. I think it perfectly captured. It captured a great understanding of the horror genre.
Yes,
everything it does. Yeah.
That's just terrifying. I don't get how this actually scares me more than some horror stuff.
It is incredibly uncomfortable. I was looking at IMDb, and what you know, they have that rating thing, and disturbing content or whatever it was it red?
It's just like there's like no gore either, but it's like the stuff where, like, you know, when the guy when the mask grows out of the guy's face, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I hate that moment. It's just awful, awful to look at. Frightening and intense scenes, severe. But even violence and gore got mild, and I don't think that's exactly true. But it's
it's
basically telling parents, don't show this to your children. It's an awful idea.
It's just the whole bit where it's like, are you my mummy? It is so scary. It's so unsettling for some reason. Because like one scene I love in the second episode where, like, you know, where if you can hear the tape running, you don't notice it first, and then you keep going, I'm here, mummy, can you not see me? I'm behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that noise? It's like, oh, the tape's running out. Mummy, I'm here. I sent the kid to his room. This is his room, and you're like, oh my god. Anytime I rewatch that, I just know, you're like, Mummy, and it's like, wait, hang on a minute, is that coming out of the speaker? It's coming behind me. It's like,
exactly.
Oh my.
I think
it's so disturbing.
I think what they do, which is it works great, is they kind of create this aesthetic, don't they, of the war. If you think of the fright of the war, you are thinking of the bombings, the gas masks. The gas masks are creepy, and they completely play on it. Yeah. And of course, children are scary.
Nancy's brilliant.
Yeah.
Nancy, one of my favourite one-off characters on Doctor Who. Do you know what I mean? She's so, like, in the end where, like, when she goes, oh god, it's my fault. And I was like, don't be stupid. How can it be your fault? And they just looked around and they just say, and it's the whole thing was literally right in front of us. The kid was screaming at us the whole time. It's like, Mummy.
I've got to say, actually, I liked her in the first episode. I really didn't like her in the second. That's probably because I saw more of her. Yeah. I sympathise with her, of course, but I didn't feel like there was that much depth to her. And of course, she's a one-off character, and I didn't want to hear a whole backstory. But anytime I heard anything, I didn't feel emotion for her. I just didn't. I didn't care. I just didn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, it didn't work for me. I thought her dynamic with the Doctor didn't work. Yeah, and I felt like if she wasn't connected to the empty child, the episode could have done without it. That whole bit.
I don't know about that, because it's the whole ending. Really, I love the ending of this episode. I like the first introduction with her. Do you know what I mean? Where the phone's ringing, it's like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
It's like getting connected. It's so, again, creepy. You know what I mean?
I do like that. The whole thing with like phones and stuff are brilliant. I mean, like the first phone calls. Oh no, that's in Father's Day. See, I love Father's Day. That's what it is. Yeah, Father's Day is that phone call thing, doesn't it? That's creepy.
I like when he goes into the club and he goes, so I'm trying to find someone that's fallen to the ground recently from the sky. Has anyone seen anything? They all start laughing. He's like, what?
Yeah.
Won't send out a warning, and it's like, oh, World War II. I'm such an idiot.
It worked so well as well, though, because that, if you went to a comedy club during that time, it would genuinely be really funny. Perfect writing, again.
I know, yeah. Jack's great in this. Introduction to Jack, he's brilliant.
Yeah, Jack This I recognise this episode's importance. I feel like some seasons run out of steam. My laptop's being well noisy, sorry. I recognise its importance because a lot of seasons run out of steam about this point, and to the point where you're kind of waiting for the final episodes.
No.
Yeah.
And then it gets better though, because after Aliens of London, then you get Dalek, then you get The Long Game, then you get Father's Day and this. Do you know what I mean?
You get this, and now Jack's on board, and he's coming with us. Stuff like Boomtown works so much better because now we've got Jack as well.
Yeah, because early on in the season, it also feels like there's been a lot happened since the last episode. And realistically, it was like 5 episodes before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Since then, we had Dalek, Long Game, Father's Day, then this. There's only been 4 episodes in between that and Doomsday. But then it feels like so much more. Because then Jack's like, not that he's like, oh, okay, what happened last time? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
More on this episode though, I love the Doctor character. Not the Doctor, the Doctor character. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't.
He was in for one scene, but I did really like him. Do you know what I mean? I like how when he said, like, at the start of this war, I was a father and a grandfather. Now I am neither, but I'm still a doctor. I was like, wow.
It's a good line, but I didn't like him. It might just be because of the scene he was in. Didn't like him. I wasn't happy to see him come back.
Jeez. Oh, a bit harsh. I like the dinner scene as well with the kids. Where the Doctor shows up and he's just asking questions. What I love as well about this episode, 20 minutes in, you're like, there's like so many plot threads. You're like, how does this all link? And normally you'd be like, okay, it's convoluted. It's going to be an awful ending. It's not going to make any sense. You know what I mean? Not fully satisfied. This episode, like at the end, you're like, oh my god, wow, everything linked together. I have all my questions answered.
It does work well. I do agree. It connects well. I will say the Ninth Doctor, brilliant again.
Yeah, he's brilliant in this one.
Yeah, he really shines. He has some fantastic monologues. I'm not a fan of the ending. I
understand he got ruined a bit by Moffat doing it constantly during his era, where it's like, oh, we're going to finally save everyone. Where it's like, what, for the 18th time? But at this point, understanding, like, there's been quite a lot of losses in this season. Do you know what I mean? Like, every single episode almost has like someone dying. Do you know what I mean? Like someone, like a character, like you're like, that person died. Do you know what I mean?
No, I was gonna say, I don't like the end twist of, because I already don't like that character anyway. Of, oh, she's actually the mother. I didn't like that at all. But I do like when it, like I say in some of his monologues and some of his little bits of dialogue of, yeah, everybody lives. It gives you a little bit of goosebumps.
I love it, yeah. Because he's so happy because it's like normally everyone, at least he loses one person. And then I love it when Rose goes, what about Jack?
Yeah.
Damn, he's died. But then that normally, why can't he just teleport on the TARDIS? And he goes, oh wait, he does do that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I was like, you do that more. I was like, but yeah, it's great. I don't have anything else to say apart from the atmosphere and the setting was brilliant. Just the World War II setting is so good.
Yeah, World War II works really well for it.
Shadows, brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, and he likes bananas, so
yeah.
I appreciate that. This bananas.
The episode. I don't think I have anything else to say. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, oh wait, okay. There's a bit of subtle text about Rose asking who the Doctor dances, which is obviously a metaphor for something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's interesting. That's all I can say about that.
I'm happy to leave it at that.
Yeah. I'll give my rating. I'm going to give both of them a 10. As a whole story a 10.
I give the... Sorry.
I just said it. I prefer the first part.
Same. I give the first part a 7 and the second part a 5.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep. On to the next one. I know you said the Doctor dances then, so I forgot to switch between the two parts while we were talking. There's some pictures of Doctor dances there. Moving on. Boomtown.
And I was having such a nice day.
According to intelligence, the target is the last surviving member of the Slovene family, a criminal sect from the planet Rexicorical Foul Victoria.
It's almost like filler, but it's good filler because it's very character. You know, like right before the finale. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a deep breath right before we get to the finale. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. But it still doesn't take it too easy. It takes it easy enough that that it is a bit more calmer before the storm, which you have to do.
I mean, some bottled it. I mean, remember Fairhair, like in season 2, like right before the finale. That was terrible.
Yeah. There's that finding the balance, isn't there? And I think Boomtown does it perfectly. Because it still tackles some really philosophical concepts and stuff, like who has the right to say who should die and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. One thing I like about it is like, when the Doctor says that thing and it's like what's the name called, Margaret or something like that. She goes, yeah, well, only a killer will know that. The Doctor just looks at her like, yeah. He's like, I think you're like, wow, because in the classic series, he did actually kill somebody.
Yeah.
Obviously, like self-defense sometimes, you know what I mean? Well, actually all the time, do you know what I mean? But either way, though, the Doctor has, like, killed people in self-defense, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Sixth Doctor, the guy was attacking him with a gun and he literally pushed a guy in some acid. It's like, wow. It was mainly the Sixth Doctor, and then the Seventh Doctor was a bit... I can't wait to get to the Seventh Doctor, but I know, like, he made a remembrance, he did some pretty bad stuff.
I love the Seventh Doctor, but I do think there should be that balance with the Doctor. Like we said with Dalek, there's that deep awfulness beneath him, but it shouldn't be that exposed. He shouldn't be doing it all the time. It should be the worst that comes out.
Does balance. I've not seen all the Seventh Doctors at all, and I'm close to him. I'm on the sixth at the moment.
Yeah.
But I've heard that's he's like one of the main ones, like the number one that does that, who balances comedic, like sort of like a goofball, like the Second Doctor, but he's also kind of dark in quite a lot of places.
Yeah, I agree with that. I remember the Sixth Doctor that.
Sixth Doctor just straight up like asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't go too far with either side. You really can't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because even like the Fourth Doctor and Second Doctors were kind of silly, but they still had good elements to them. Do you know what I mean? Like realistic elements, like, and some dark moments between each one.
Yeah. I was going to say because he's only human after all, but he's not human. But you get what I mean. He's
Yeah. He's flawed. He's flawed. He's a good. Basically, he's a good character.
Yeah.
This episode though, I like how Mickey confronts Rose finally. It's like, come on. It's like you're so horrible.
Mickey's really good in this. I like him in it.
I do like him in this. I like how like they teamed up and like they tried to like take. It was really funny that scene where they went into the dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Ruth said to him, follow the Doctor. He's like, okay. And they just hear the tea like smashing, like the cup smashing. And she's like, she's not going to be available today. Can you make an appointment? She's like, yeah, she's climbing out the window, isn't she? She's like, yes, she is.
It just chases after. Yeah. That group of four is one of my favourite TARDIS teams ever.
And it was only in like this story and the second story as well.
Yeah.
And back in Stolen Over Journey's End, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It works so well. Even just them eating dinner, I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's everything I love in the story. Slovene is back, but just one of them this time. And they even delve into the Slovenes a bit more. It was really interesting. I loved that.
I actually prefer the Slovene in this than the other two.
I like the Slovenes for different reasons in each, which is really interesting. So I don't know if I can... I prefer this over the aliens and World War III. But yeah, I really do enjoy it. And then even the ending where she turns into an egg
It sounds so stupid, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It has that stupidness where it's funny, and they keep saying, don't they? She's an egg. She's turned into an egg, but it's also that symbolism for new life, and that is a brilliant combo. I love it.
Do you have anything else to say about Doomtown?
I guess there's also when the I love Yusuf intercutting where the Doctor's out on a date with the Slovene and Rose is kind of out on a date with Mickey until it turns out to not be a date, and that's brilliant. It flows so well, the episode. I'm giving it a 10.
Oh, you're giving it a 10? Jesus.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I'm going to give it a 6.
That's fine.
It's okay.
I just felt things that I like from some of its more deeper episodes, Doctor Who's deeper episodes, that I really like. This time it kind of took a back seat, but it was still there subtly while we had a fun episode too. I think that combined perfectly for me.
I still like the episode. I think it's okay. Do you know what I mean? I still like the episode.
Yeah. Right. Well,
I mean, when you say about like predecessors and finales, I think my favourite one, off the top of my head, is probably Turn Left.
Yeah.
That one does not give you it's like, okay, let's just sit down for a moment before we get to this finale. It's like, okay, no Doctor in this one. Okay. Nice breath of fresh air. Oh no! This one's super depressing.
That is true. Well, also, you have to.
I
was about to say, you have to recognise how brilliant season 4 is, and that they really could take that chance because season 4 was on an insane hot streak. Whereas I don't want to see Moffat doing that. I don't want to see Chibnall doing that. I'd rather you give me a filler episode because you're not going to be making Turn Left.
I did that with the Lodger, and that's all right.
Yeah. I thought Lodger was alright.
Closing times suck though. Why are we talking about all the seasons?
I know. We'll be doing this throughout, so it doesn't really matter.
Right, on to Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways.
You got chosen. You're a housemate. You're in the house. Isn't that brilliant?
Welcome to the Weakest Link.
Yep. I mean, well.
I love the start of Bad Wolf so much.
Same.
It's not if you're like, oh my god, these game shows, this is a bit cringy. Okay, right. And you're just going along and you're like, right, okay. And like, this is actually alright, actually. This is actually pretty decent. This is actually pretty good for like a Mickey take on like game shows. But then the Doctor goes, it's like, oh yeah, I remember now. I got a transmat from my ship mid-flight. And she's like, see, there you go. And he goes, but then there's a moment when you look at the Doctor and he's something more's going on. Do you know what I mean? And he goes, oh, sweet little. No, not just some any casual beat like transmat can get into my ship. That blast was like 1 trillion times more than it should have been. There's something else going on here. And you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And then that first person dies. You know, like when they've been evicted from Big Brother and the first person dies, and you're like, oh my god, there's something really bad going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a ticking clock with Rose about how like she's about to be killed. Do you know what I mean? She's not doing well. She doesn't know any stuff about modern that Earth. Do you know what I mean? Like in the future, it's brilliant. I love this episode so much. The Jack stuff was funny.
Yeah.
I love it when the Doctor where he goes, oh yeah, so that person, how did she get a bit to this? And she's like, oh yeah, damaging property. And he's like, oh, what, like this? He just blows up a camera. You know, that's brilliant. I love that about the Ninth Doctor.
I was about to say that kind of summarises up the Ninth Doctor. But it is brilliant. I love how kind of off it gets throughout the episode. Yeah. It starts to feel more wrong what's going on, and then you get the Bad Wolf reveal, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. What's it? Rose dies. well, for a moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it shocks you.
Yeah, that scene was brilliant. Like, oh my god! Because also, you know what you also think as well. This Linda character, you start thinking, is this going to be like a new companion? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got a really good relationship with the Ninth Doctor, and then Rose starts. You're like, oh my god! Like, subconsciously, you start believing it. Do you know what I mean?
And,
like, oh my god, it's going to be the new companion.
Yeah, and actually, if you go to the iPlayer, the main picture for that episode is the Ninth Doctor and Linda, and it's almost like the picture you kind of expect for a new companion. Like,
yeah, it is. Yeah, just had a look then. And then of course they attack the main hub, and then I love that scene where the power goes off, and then she starts talking to him. And she's like, "Oh, I was kidnapped by the kid." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like her whole life sprung up, and she's like, I love the dialogue's so good. She's like, she's like, oh my god, my masters, they don't wish the program, so I hid you in there. Do you know what I mean? And they go, oh my god, my masters fear you. My masters fear the Doctor. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, oh my god, who are they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that moment, and they find out Rose is still alive. You're like, yeah, she's been transported, and then you see that the eye popping. You're like, oh my god. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, oh my god, they're back already. Do you know what I mean?
And
then she buys them, and she's like, and she gets teleported, and then you see that a bit in the reflection in the thing, and she goes, "Oh, you can kill me if I've brought you destruction." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So good. And then the reveal comes out where there's like about 1,000 ships. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, yes. You're like, oh my god, this is going to be great. And then the conversation between them. Do you know what I mean? Where Eccleston goes mental at him. Do you know what I mean? He's like, I'm going to wipe every last Dalek out of the sky. And the Dalek goes like, oh yeah, but you've got no plan or no weapon. And he goes, yeah, and doesn't that just scare you to death? And you're like, oh my god, the Doctor's coming, and you're like, okay, so the Dalek's going to be scared. But then the Daleks just go straight on. It's like, okay, the Doctor's initiating, he's coming, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, right, begin the invasion of Earth, and you're like, oh fuck. Do you know what I mean? They're not just sitting around, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It sets up the next episode so well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Russell T is fabulous at this. There's one-liners and stuff, and oh man, yeah, I really do like this episode. When you mentioned the Dalek point of view of Rose when she's been transported, it's really interesting the way they do that. As that's the Dalek reveal. Because obviously, as if you're a common Doctor Who viewer, you instantly understand that's a Dalek. But so does the casual viewer, the new viewer of like, oh, Doctor Who's come back. I've never seen it before. Let's watch this first season. You've already understand that because of Dalek earlier. It's really clever. They think it all through.
I know, it's so good. It's so good. On to the second part. I mean, it's the same story, isn't it? So it starts off really well.
Yeah.
That bit with the Emperor is so good. Because the Emperor's from the series as well. He only showed up once, so they brought him back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's a different one, do you know what I mean? But it's the same sort of rank, do you know what I mean? And that talk as well, do you know what I mean? Where you find out they're in the same army, particularly these Daleks. When they go back in the TARDIS and when they're all like screaming out there, you know what I mean? And then the Doctor, you just see the Doctor and he just puts his head on the doors, and you just see how like sad he is, you know what I mean? Because he's destroyed all of his own people.
Yeah.
Nothing, and it was for nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's brilliant. It's so good.
No words are needed. Just pure cinematic language. Fantastic.
Yeah. I love the bit where there's like 1,100 people on the bottom, and he's like, "Where's my money?" Do you know what I mean? They couldn't transport them off.
Yeah.
This episode just shows how good the Daleks are. Dalek did as well, but this one's like on a bigger scale. I like that. The first one was a bit more smaller scale. This one's a big one, and you understand, like, I mean, off screen, don't they like conquer the world or something? Like they just bomb it, like they nuke it or something.
And it's really really good decision they did that, because starting off with Dalek, as much as it's a challenging piece of media, it's much more simple. And they need to show that understanding that they have of Daleks rather than show them in like a mass army. Now, if they didn't do the finale that they did, then people would be questioning after that. Okay, can they do this in a mass size now? Can they do them as a big army? They nail them both in the first season. It's perfect.
I love it. It's like this episode's like they put a shield on like the first 5 floors. The Daleks can't do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have to go in the other floors and like they have to fight their way up. That's brilliant. That's so good. Like it's like a fight to the top of the tower, and it's brilliant because the Daleks they're not getting that slowed down that much. They're a bit. Do you know what I mean? And it's so tense.
Yeah.
It's so good. And there's just I need to go through. There's so many moments in this episode, like the bit where he sends her home. Do you know what I mean? It's so good.
Yeah. I actually hate that scene. I mean, this business did it so well. I hate that scene where she's sat with her mum and Mickey eating chips. It's so depressing. It's so awful.
Yeah, the bit where the Emperor calls back in, he goes, "Yeah, tell him, Doctor, there's every chance that the Delta wave will be complete, but he's going to destroy the Earth." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And oh my God, I was going to destroy his second home planet. Like you said about the scene with the chips, the scene where Linda dies.
Yeah.
I mean, where like you see behind them, you can space your sound, you see the lights go up, and then they just smash the screen. Do you know what I mean? And then you see the Doctor's reaction, and he's like, "Oh no!" But then he just carries on because he's already lost too many. The bit where they kill everyone on the bottom floor.
Yeah.
It's like genocide. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's what they would do. Do you know what I mean? It's very symbolism to the Nazis. You know what I mean?
It's crazy when you look back, and it's only a couple episodes that we had the Doctor dances where he's got Everybody Lives, and you further understand that level of pain he goes through, especially in these big stories where it's the Daleks or whatever it is, his greatest enemies. It doesn't work out for him, even if it does, even if he survives, it doesn't work out
exactly.
like that.
I like when the android kills 3 Daleks, and you're like, oh wow, that's it's like the first victory. Jack goes, yes, and then one just comes up and he goes, you are the it just blows the Dalek. It just blows up. Do you know what I mean? It basically says you caught them off guard that one time, and you just destroyed it. Do you know what I mean? It says a small victory. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You slowed them down. Do you know what I mean? But what I like about it, that actually came out. The scene came right before they killed everyone on the bottom floor. So it's like, oh yeah, you killed 3 of us. Okay, we're just going to commit genocide downstairs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like the bit Rose is talking to her mum about how he went and saw Dad. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, we just had a bit of an argument. Do you know what I mean? She's like, shut up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Man.
I liked the bit where Jack dies. Do you know what I mean? That's like the last stance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he goes, extra. And everybody goes, yeah, I kind of figured that. And he just dies. And at the time, you're like, wow. I love the bit where Rose finally gets the TARDIS working.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So she's back, we'll talk about that ending. Because that's what it is now. I like how the Doctor couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? He couldn't destroy Earth like he did Gallifrey. Do you know what I mean? He just couldn't do it again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a Deus Ex Machina. Russell did that all the time. What am I going to say with this finale? This finale and Stolen Off Journey's End, both Deus Ex Machinas, at least they had some sacrifice in both of them now. This one, the Ninth Doctor, ended up being dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I like that. I still don't like how he was there. I mean, he always does this. He did this in... The worst one was season 3, where he does a scenario, and you're like, right, are they going to win now? Just some random bullshit thing that's never been explained before happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what? That's like the one problem with Russell. It's like, what? That was never set up. What? It's like, oh yeah, we can resurrect the Doctor through prayer. It's like, you never said that. And did you know, rewind time, so the Master didn't do anything? You're like, for God's sake. But yeah, this one. Oh yeah, Rose is no one God. It's like, seriously. And just turns them all into dust. I do like the bit where the Emperor is dying, when he goes, I am immortal, do you know what I mean? And he goes, I will not die, I will not die. And then he sees his eye closed, do you know what I mean? And he's obviously been turned to dust.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, the Russo brothers watched this and they said, you know what, we did get something.
I know, I agree with what you're saying. I really don't feel like Bad Wolf was pulled off properly. The only time it kind of worked was with the reveal, in the last episode, where you kind of get what's going on now. But in terms of, whatever, it's forgettable. And kind of a bit of a cop-out. I guess you could kind of see it coming. That was going to be just used for a cop-out. Bit of a shame.
Yeah. At least the Doctor generated at the end. There was a bit of stakes.
True, and I guess there's also the Doctor kind of finding his equal, in for a weird moment, and saying that's how I feel all the time. So I guess it does bring nice moments. I kind of just don't like it.
Yeah, although the ending only ruins it. As in, like, I'd give Part in the Ways maybe like a 9 because I think it does get pulled up by the first 40 minutes. Do you know what I mean? They gave like 90% of the film. Episode. Part 1 as well. I love that part. I'm gonna give the first part a 10.
Mm-hmm.
The second part a 9. And overall 9.5, but more like 9.7. Do you know what I mean? So
except for the overall grading, I actually completely agree. 10 and a 9. I just round it down to a 9. But that's just because there's so many good finales out there, kind of measure it up, you know what I mean?
If we talk about Doctor Who, I can only name 2 finales I prefer than this in the whole show.
Name a few.
Yeah, of course. I think Moffat was terrible at making finales. Do you know what I mean?
True.
So that's what it most. Think about the Master one. Do you know what I mean? And I have problems with Doomsday. Do you know what I mean? So I do prefer Stolen Earth Journey's End, and I prefer the Cyberman one with Peter Capaldi. World Enough and Time Not to Falls. I actually do. This one is probably my third favourite. I've got to say, because I don't prefer this. I prefer this the Big Bang and the Pandora Opens, even though I do actually like that one.
I disagree, but we'll get to season 5 soon enough. But on my measurements, I give it a 9. 9 is still great overall rating for a finale. We do not get those anymore. Not even close.
I understand. I look at this finale, I'm like, wow. There's not many finales that top this. I was going to say, there's only 2 that have topped this in my opinion. I can't carry on this. But I'll talk about maybe some of the story arcs and characters then throughout.
Sure.
What did you think of Bad Wolf? And just the arc in general, do you know what I mean? Like the setup, do you know what I mean? With the one word being shown up constantly.
I do think it's a little weak. I like the idea of constantly seeing something, but I think they took a little too long to get anywhere with it. The strongest development, really, at a certain point was Thingy, the I've already forgotten the name, the Unquiet Dead. I forgot the name of it then, where she just says Bad Wolf. I think it could have gone further. But for the first season, we've had worse at the end of the day. We really have. Yeah. And we've had more confusing and complicated.
I do think, for me, it's only his first season, and I do think he improves. As in, like, with the story arcs, I think season 3 and 4's, like, setups for the finales were brilliant.
Yeah.
What I love about season 4's was, it wasn't just, like, one word being said constantly. There was, like, multiple things that in the background that you don't even realise. Like, in season 4, they say planets were missing, the bees were going away or something like that. Something is coming, do you know what I mean? Rose keeps showing up. Yeah. There's, like, multiple elements setting up the finale. With this one, it was just a word. Season 2, it was Torchwood. I don't even like that one that much. I do like season 3's with Harold Saxon. because it is like, who is this guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a guy. Do you know what I mean? It's not just a word. Do you know what I mean? It's just a guy in the background. You're like, who is this person? But for this one, Bad Wolf, it was like they had to set up like this story up. So I understand it, and it was interesting how there was just this word showing up constantly. Yeah, it wasn't great though, wasn't it? Yeah, I
will say, and one thing we go on.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good way of setting up the finale.
One thing I will say actually, and one thing we haven't mentioned at all somehow, I think I heard it on pretty much any note I had for the entire series, was Murray Gold being the greatest composer Doctor Who will ever have.
I thought this section was going to be where we talk about him.
Yeah.
He's so good in the Russell era. He's so good.
Incredible. And even...
I always feel when I'm listening to it, like, he just sets the atmosphere. Like, when I'm like listening, like just like the one that I think of as more like in the Empty Channel and Dr. Dances, you know what I mean? Like, the score is so airy and like, and then like in Dalek, it's like so almost epic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, even connecting that to Bad Wolf, that I think it's the Rose theme in it that plays, and wow.
Yeah, I love the Dalek. I love the Dalek theme. They play that throughout the whole thing, and it's so epic.
Yeah,
it's like an orchestra, like like singing like a oh. It's like wow. Do you know what I mean? It's like yeah, Murray Gold's so good. Some haters didn't like him because they hate everything about the new series. I always laugh at that. I'll always laugh at that because ironically, some people didn't actually like the Russell era. They're usually classic Who fans. Some of them, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of pretentious. What I find ironic is that, and you know one of the YouTubers who we used to watch. I just find it funny because when they got to the Chibnall era, he was literally there was one of the episodes where he was like, "Oh, you know what? I hate to say this, but I actually miss Moffat." I was like, "Yeah, you didn't know how." What I mean is, when I look at bad episodes in this season, I'm like, they're bad, but my God, did we get worse in the future? We got so much the episodes that just failed at the basics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The basics of football.
Yeah, just the basics. I love that clip.
Yeah.
Delp, is it?
Yeah.
The basics. I wish you just send that to Chibnall, but just without football, just put right.
The basics are right. That's brilliant.
Characters wise, brilliant. Ninth Doctor was so good. I just wish we saw more of him.
Yeah.
And I think he gets kind of bogged down by so many other good Doctors. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, who've had more time to shine.
He's so unique because he stands out by not standing out.
Yeah.
That's what people always say. He stands out by not standing out. So good. Rose was good in this season. Was good in this season. She actually felt like a character. Father's Day. Not even the classic companions had an episode like Father's Day. Apart from maybe Ace had a couple I've heard, which I'm looking forward to watching when she delved back into her backstory. But Mickey was funny. Jackie was funny. They were sort of two comedic characters. They had the emotional weight behind them still though in scenes.
Yeah.
Like with Jackie in Aliens of London, when she sees her daughter after a year.
Yeah.
And then the finale where they talk about the dad, do you know what I mean? And she's like, your dad would say the same. And Rose is like, no, I met Dad. He would say the complete opposite. And she's like, shut up. Do you know what I mean? But then she's so funny though. She's so funny.
She is.
Jack's great. Yeah, he's great. There's nothing more to say. I'm glad he got a whole show. I wish he was on the TARDIS a lot longer though. But
yeah.
At least he showed up quite a lot though. Do you know what I mean? That's good.
Yeah, he stayed for the rest of the season, which was always nice to see. He really added that extra boost the show needed towards the end, I feel.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Overall, I'd give this season a 9.
Yeah, I think that's really fair because it's really
I look at other stuff because also, also I look at like episode consistencies is a big thing, but I also look at characters, the arc, and like you said, score, the writing, the directing. It's very consistent throughout as well.
Yeah.
Even bad episodes, you can see all those elements like Murray Gold putting them a top performance. You know what I mean? I can see Chibnall. Chibnall's first episode of season 3. Sorry, I can see like Mark Gatiss writing an episode. I can see Russell trying his best to make something out of the Unquiet Dead, even though it doesn't completely work. Do you know what I mean? I can see the directing in quite a lot of the episodes, at least trying their best with even the bad scripts. And then when the scripts are great, oh my god! I think I gave 3 episodes of 10 here.
Yeah.
I gave Dalek the finale and Chad, and even Father's Day is a 9. And then apart from that, like, you know, Rose is great. You know, I do like the Alien. When I say consistency, it's just the World's End. No, not the World's End. That's a great film. The End of the World, The Unquiet Dead, and The Long Game. It's like 3 episodes that let it down for me. But and that's just stopping it from being a 10, because overall, this might be my 3rd favourite season of Doctor Who, of the modern series. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's only 2 seasons that completely did it better, only because they were so good consistency. Like we know what the 2 seasons are. Those seasons had like no bad episodes, and they had like 5, 10 out of 10, something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't wait to get to those.
yeah, exactly. We know what they are.
Yeah.
This is the first. In my opinion, this is a 9. What would you give it?
I'd give it an 8. I know it's a little picky, but
I can get that. I can get 8.
Yeah, it definitely had room for improvement, but I'd be lying if I didn't get Doctor Who for you for again watching it, and just really enjoyed it. But I do look at stuff like Bad Wolf, not the episode. I love the episode, gave it a 10. But the idea of Bad Wolf, some of the weaker episodes, and stuff like that, sometimes it just really didn't work for me. But I can't deny how great it was. I really enjoyed it, and I really do wish we got more of the Ninth Doctor. I feel like everyone did.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we wrapped that up. How long was it overall?
I'm not too sure. This call's an hour and 30. I feel like the last call's maybe 20 minutes, so...
Okay, that's good, because I thought this was going to honestly like 4 hours, because I was thinking, are we going to talk like 20 minutes per episode? And some of the episodes we did, but those were the ones.
There's a couple we skipped because there's nothing to say.
Oh yeah, the Long Game, and Unquiet. But no, we said some stuff, really, like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think when we get to season 4 and 5, there's going to be an endless amount of stuff to say. That will be really long.
Yeah, that is tough. Yeah. So you're gonna watch season?
Yeah. Well, quickly before we mention season 2, we didn't mention the regeneration.
What about just the effect, or?
Yeah, how do you feel about it? How do you think it ranks amongst others?
Oh, the regeneration scene. In the middle.
Yeah.
There's been worse regeneration scenes, no doubt about it. I love Tens. I love him. I love Tens, not I love his regeneration. I love Ten's regeneration.
Yeah.
I don't like 9's regeneration on Trenzalore, but you got 2, and I do actually quite like the bit with Clara, where he's like, where he goes, we all change. That's good. We've got to keep going as long as we remember who we used to be. Do you know what I mean? And don't forget that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's good. And when Amy shows up, you're like, oh man, you're right in the fields. I like 12.
Yeah.
Out of the regenerations, I have seen all the 13s. That 13s was again worse than all. It wasn't actually that bad. She just walked out on a hill and she just went, okay, bye.
That's all I needed. I just needed a gun.
Exactly. It was a bit over the top for no reason. Like she came out, it was like lightning strikes. I was like,
She couldn't go out quietly.
okay, I was like, whatever, just go. Thank you.
They could have just done it off screen. I don't care anymore. Well, I guess David Tennant showed up though, so that. But yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. Nothing too special, which is weird because Christopher Eccleston had so many great monologues in this. So the fact that his last bit wasn't memorable is weird.
Yeah, I did like the bit where he goes, so you know what? You know, you were fantastic. And you know what? So was I.
Yeah, I do like that. So was I.
Yeah. But what I mean is, like, when I think I read my favourites, I do like the 3 ones after this, you know, with 10, 11, and 12. Just the final moments in the TARDIS. And for the new series, if I'm saying who I prefer better, I think I prefer Hartnell's the 4th Doctor and the 5th Doctor. And I'm going to say why I prefer this to other ones. The 6th Doctor's regeneration, which I've seen, is terrible, because Colin Baker got sacked, so it was just Sylvester McCoy in a wig with an effect over his face. It's at the start of the episode.
I think you sent me that, actually.
Yeah, of course that was better than that regeneration. I don't like the 7s in the TV movie that much. It had elements that are good, but they made like a parallel to Frankenstein. I was like, ugh. So Americanized. I was like, I actually like 8 more than this, actually. 8 into 4, because 8 had like this. It was like he was about to join the Time War. Do you know what I mean? And he was dead anyway. Do you know what I mean? He didn't have a choice. Do you know what I mean? So he had to drink like poison to at least get his regeneration to go. And then he had like you could see he was annoyed. Do you know what I mean? That the Doctor's like almost dead now, and he has like there's like a monologue where he's like apologizes to all of his companions. I'm like, yeah, I think 9 was just a bit. I mean, it's still good though. Still good. Like I said, though, in the middle.
I think it could have been done better, but it wasn't awful.
The only thing I like, I guess, like how sudden it was, because for new viewers, you're like, wait, what the fuck?
True. I guess you can't override it a bit.
It's like, so was I. It's like, okay, you're being a bit weird. Wait, what's happened? Oh my god, is he dying? Why is he turned into fire? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Where's he gone?
Yeah, no, that's true. That is actually true. They can't go too much. At the point of David Tennant's end of his era, you know what's going to happen now. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, season 1. Well, thanks for joining me. It was a great conversation. Yeah, I learned a lot of new stuff about Dalek anyway, which is crazy. I thought I knew that episode alright, but anything last to say before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I think I mentioned everything from season 1. I love this season.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did go back to some episodes like Child Doctor Dancers, and I'm going to rewatch Boomtown because that's one I've not seen in a while, and I'm going to watch.
Just for you to give it a 10.
Do you know what I mean? I might like it a bit more, but yes. Look forward to season 2. Well, not really, because I don't like that one as much, but
it'll be fun to talk about it.
I'm going to talk about this. You know Rory Jennings?
Oh yeah.
He's in season 2.
Is he? Where?
He's in episode 7 called The Unquiet, The Idiot's Landing.
Oh, he's in Unquiet, they're crazy.
Parrots in that episode as well, so that's going to be interesting when we're watching that. I will have to talk about that episode again, because I do not remember that episode.
Oh my god, that episode, yeah. Really?
Are you on iPlayer? Are you on an iPlayer?
Yeah, I looked up on Google.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, how mental is that? That's going to be interesting.
Madness. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Are you going to rewatch Satan bit? I think you should.
I can't remember it very well, so yeah, it's likely.
because, spoiler alert, it will be my favourite episode of that season, and I have a lot to say about that. I'm going to have to rewatch that again, because with what I've been doing, I'm probably going to rewatch my favourite episodes from the seasons, because I say like Dalek and all that, and why I rewatch Empty Child does that, because I want it to be very clear when I'm talking about them, do you know what I mean, so I remember.
Yeah, that's why I was close to not rewatching Dalek, but I turned out to have enough time, because I do remember that well. But it was fun to rewatch anyway. I was like, it's awesome. It was awesome.
I can't wait for the talk for season 2 now. This is going to be good.
Yeah. I think I remember this one less than season 1, strangely enough. Except for the odd episodes.
Yeah.
I will be rewatching most of them. I think the one I can maybe skip, unfortunately, is School Reunion, because I've rewatched it since. And New Earth, actually. I rewatched that since. So I don't actually need to rewatch that, which is great.
Good. I've seen it recently. Well, Love and Monsters are going to be fun. I'm not rewatching Fair. That can fuck off.
Yeah, understandable.
I have a massive rant about it, because in my opinion, it's the worst Russell. Not just the worst 10th Doctor episode. It's the worst Russell episode, in my opinion. So
that's going to be an interesting conversation.
I'm gonna defend Love and Monsters.
I will not.
Are you gonna watch Girl in the Fireplace?
Yeah, I didn't like that on the first watch.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah. Let's hope you do on the second. Although I know you give it a 10, but I do like that one.
Yeah, we can always, like we did today, we can always just flip back between seasons anyway. This is how conversations work.
Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, I might rewatch it. I have problems with Doomsday.
Yeah. I'm not going to spoil too much, but after watching season 1, I'm starting to reconsider Doomsday. So that'll be a really interesting rewatch.
Oh yeah, Doomsday, of course. Yeah. I thought we said Boomtown, and I was like, what?
No.
Yeah, Doomsday.
Yeah, I don't need to rewatch Boomtown.
Real quick, are we going to include the Christmas special in between? Because it is 10's first one. We can do, it's up to you. I don't care, really.
Let's see if I get time.
Yeah, it would be interesting, because it is like, let's see 10's first story, let's talk about it, do you know what I mean?
True.
But if you don't want it, though, I'm not bothered.
I'll leave it till last and see if I watch it in time. And if I don't watch in time, so be it. And we'll do a Christmas special video.
Yeah. God, I forgot how bad this season was.
Yeah, I've been looking through it then.
It's just like New Earth, Tooth and Claw, Idiot's Lantern, Love and Monsters, Fair Her. There's 10 stories in each season. There's 5 there I don't like. Well, I mean, Love and Monsters is it's not a good story, but I do like it. You know what I mean? And then it's like 5 that I don't like, and then it's like the Cyberman 2-part finale. I'm just like disappointed. Like they're okay, they're not. Damn. This is easily the worst Russell era season, which is weird because it used to be my second favourite. I used to not like 3, but then I like season 3 a lot more now.
Season 3 is my least favourite at the moment, but we'll see. I haven't watched it. It
was when I was a kid. I think what it is back then. Oh, I love the Cybermen part. It's amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I love the Doomsday Cybermen versus Daleks. It's like, that's what it is. Do you know what I mean? But then when those 2 episodes go down, when I'm getting older, in estimations, it's like then it just ruins the season. And then I get more episodes in season 3. I start liking a lot more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from.
It'll be interesting with season 3 to talk about Chibnall's first episode.
Yeah. Man, there's so much conversation in this. We're not even getting to the best seasons yet. I mean, when it's going to get real depressing towards the end, but we'll hold it out, because I feel like there's still a lot of conversations to be had on where the show has gotten to after talking about some of the best seasons.
Actually, there's one aspect I didn't really talk about too much. What I wish about season 1. Actually, I didn't talk about how it was like the return. We did a bit in Rose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, I only did a little introduction. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about more, like, you know, like how this was like at the time. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, the guy who cancelled Doctor Who first, back in the day, when this started, he recently got his job back. Like, as in, like, he got like moved to another role, and then he got like another important role again on this time, and he honestly tried to cancel the new series again.
Really?
Like, he literally asked, "Is it late to cancel the revival?" And then he tried to cancel any prospects of a season 2. Luckily, though, it was massive season 1. Season 1 was so big in ratings. Do you know what I mean? It was like constantly top 3. Do you know what I mean? People, you know, when it came back, you know, because it was basically a thing that says, yes, it is a state. It's part of British pop culture. Do you know what I mean? When it got cancelled, people said no, not really. Didn't have any much. Yeah, but basically, yeah. I wanted to talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, it's insane. I didn't know that they tried to shut it down again. There's something wrong with him. There's seriously something wrong with him.
Yeah, I just hated the show. Although I can talk about the Wilderness Years when we get to Human Nature and Family of Blood. I know you didn't like that one either. Rewatch that one as well.
True. I always want to hear new information anyway. And also, you were saying that he tried to go again and cancel in season 2 anyway. So you could always elaborate on that in the next video.
I guess so. It was more around season 1 though, where the production was almost done for season 1, and he was basically saying, okay, let's make sure there's no possibility of a season 2. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, one asshole.
Absolute maniac.
One thing, because I actually did watch Human Nature, Family of Blood recently. One thing I want to talk to you about that is, we'll talk about it more when it gets there, but
yeah,
because I've watched it recently. Did you know it was a adaptation of a Doctor Who novel?
Was it? What book?
It was called Human Nature.
Oh, all right. Hold on.
It was written like, you know, when in the 90s when Doctor was cancelled. Basically the show sort of at the time was considered to continue.
Oh, Seventh Doctor.
Yeah, it was the 7th Doctor. Yeah. The original Doctor written for the Family of Blood is the 7th Doctor. You can tell in that episode it feels like a 7th Doctor episode.
Oh man, I want to read that. See, 7th Doctor, that intrigues me.
Yeah, apparently the novel's fantastic. It's good because it's like one of the only adaptations. Well, one thing I didn't notice, they did that quite a lot with Russell did that quite a bit. Like each season, he wanted to adapt something from, you know, like they call it the Wilderness Years, you know, where there was no Doctor Who and there was just like a lot of media in like writing and like, you know, audio plays and all that. So of course, first he wanted to do like a Jubilee adaptation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here's one thing: Rise of the Cybermen: Age of Steel was actually meant to be an adaptation of another Doctor Who Big Finish story called Spare Parts.
Oh, no Spare Parts.
Yeah. Apparently, that's also a reason why quite a lot of people kind of go against this episode, because it's kind of like a massive downgrade on it. Do you know what I mean? It feels.
Yeah.
Also not heard Spare Parts, but yeah, I found that interesting though, how he always tried to do something from the Wilderness Years and put it into the new series. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think he did anything with season 4 though. I think season 4 was just completely new ideas, really.
That's how season 4 felt, though.
Yeah, that was good. Of course, Moffat had like this like massive master plan for season 5, and then like 6 and 7, he just
He should have just done one season.
Season 6 and 7 feels like someone was written by someone who was just bored of the show.
Yeah. It's written by the guy who hated Doctor Who. He wanted to cancel in the second series. He didn't give up in season 6.
Yeah, exactly. I think he wasn't in a position of power by then. And also by season 6, you see, like season 1 was big. Season 2 was still big. Season 3 was still big. But there was a tiny decline. Only tiny though. They were basically the same. Season 4 was massive. Like it was the highest ratings of the show.
I'm not surprised. That's the first one I remember as a kid. Season 4.
You know how ratings usually, but basically in the season, ratings sort of go off each season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like each episode goes off by one. Do you know what I mean? Like the finale will have less views than the opener. Season 4 is the only one where because the fake out of 10 regenerated. I think Journey's End got more views. I got like the highest viewership at the show at the time as well. I'm pretty sure it got like 12 million.
That is incredible.
Yeah, obviously around that, no one could cancel it because it's like, I want to cancel Doctor Who. It's like, no. It's because by that point, BBC were like, okay, yeah, it's a treasure. it's one of our treasures because the 2000s, it was very like science fiction heavy. Star Wars. The prequels had just come out by 2005. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Though they weren't good. Do you know what I mean? It was still like popular.
Big. Yeah. I mean, also the even now, even though Doctor Who is on a decline again, it's still regarded as one of BBC's proudest productions.
Yeah. Oh yeah, literally, yeah. Now it is because it's like, what I find ironic, when the show got cancelled, 1 year later, Star Trek: The Next Generation came out. Yeah. What is considered as that show sort of brought like science fiction to TV properly? Do you know what I mean? Like in like a new era. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Doctor Who did that in the 60s a bit with the Twilight Zone and the original Star Trek. But basically, what I'm saying is, when Star Trek Generation first came out, it started influencing a lot more other like science fiction TV shows in America. What I'm saying is, if Doctor Who carried on, it might have continued till now, like through the 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what's so annoying. It got cancelled at such a bad time because it got cancelled right before science fiction became popular again. What's funny is the BBC had no science fiction prompts at all. There's like a ton of failed attempts of like science fiction shows in the BBC in the 90s. Do you know what I mean? So basically, when they brought it back in 2005, they knew there was a massive audience they'd missed out for ages. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as well. Is that it's understandable because science fiction and TV working is kind of unthinkable because it's so expensive and grand. That is why you see it in films more. Doctor Who, it's not only visually quite impressive, it's still a TV show, and it's incredibly popular. And it's been running for decades.
Exactly. Oh man, I can't wait to continue this talking, especially the Russell era and even the Moffat era. I really want to point out some of the flaws that people just never bring up in season 6 and 7.
Yeah, I mean, we'll say what you want about Moffat, but it creates a lot more conversation than Chibnall does. I'm still looking forward to talk about Chibnall because there's a lot to criticise. I'm not looking forward to rewatching it. I'm looking but
that's the point. I really don't want to rewatch that. I'll still do it though.
Yeah, do it. Lucky. But Moffat creates conversation. He always took risks.
I'll still do it. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I just mean I'm thinking about rewatching season 11. Just like the thought of it, and it's just the Ghost Monument, Demons of the Punjab, the Sanandra Conundrum, Arachnids in the UK, Witchfinders. Oh my god.
I reckon I won't need to rewatch a few of them. I remember them clearly as being incredibly boring and mind-numbing.
Yeah, what I mean is I can't remember much of these episodes, and it's like, oh my god. Basically, when we're talking about it, it's going to be full of, oh yeah, I don't remember it being...
Yeah, that doesn't create a video, does it?
Yeah.
We're far away from that, it's fine, don't think about it. That's for future us to deal with it. Yeah.
Well, I can't even want to talk about the Timeless Children.
God, no.
Season 13 feels a bit better because there's not that many episodes. It's like 6, and some of them were kind of pretty funny bad. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't even watch season 13, did I? So
so it's going to be better for you because if you are rewatching these, then it's like, okay, I'm not even rewatching this. I'm just carrying it on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Season 12 was a little more exciting than season 11. I remember, but it was worse. But it took more chances, but it was worse.
Not eating, but it was worse.
Yeah. Can't win with Chibnall.
Yeah. I mean, season 10 is going to be interesting.
Oh, every episode's good. The ones I'm mainly excited for are season 4. Yes, actually, it's just 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, that run is going to be incredibly fun. So, I mean, we're talking about layers before, and they have layers. They have layers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we should.
The finals are about to start in half an hour.
Yeah, I was about to say we should probably round. I was keeping an eye on the time. I don't care, but obviously, you know, you don't want to miss the final. I have to say goodbye and stuff, you know.
Can't you just say goodbye now and then just like add it on? No, you can't include this part.
This is not getting edited out. I don't care. No one is going to take to edit this video if I go into it properly.
Oh my god. Alright.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Season 1 review plus talking a bit about football, yeah.
Oh, you know, it's the culture. It's the culture. It's British.
Yeah, long live the British Empire, lol.
Yes, Doctor?
I'm coming to get you.
Doctor Who, Saturday at 7 on BBC One.